After waking up, the woman found herself in an unfamiliar bed. What shocked her even more was that lying next to her was a handsome man with an 8-pack abs. The man kept insisting he was her dear husband. Little did she know he was her biggest enemy before she lost her memory, and now he was lying next to her in her bed. Strangely, instead of running away, the woman didn't hesitate. She threw herself into his arms without a second thought. She even began rubbing her face against his firm abs, leaving a trail of drool on them. Waking up to find a handsome guy as her husband? What a stroke of luck. She wasn't going to waste it and was going to enjoy it to the fullest. When Li Yuan woke up in the hospital room, she found that she had lost all her memories. Before she could even gather her bearings, she was suddenly attacked by a mysterious assailant. Using the muscle memory her body retained, she managed to dodge the first wave of attacks and was preparing to counterattack. To her surprise, the masked assassin wasn't a rookie. Not only did he perfectly dodge her counterattack, but he also pulled out a gun. Just when she thought she had no strength to fight back, a gunshot rang out. A mysterious man suddenly appeared and without hesitation shot the masked assassin dead. Still shaken, Li Yuan loudly demanded, "Who are you?" The man smirked with disdain and casually replied, "You've forgotten me? I'm your husband." Li Yuan, stunned by the handsome man who seemed to fall from the sky, blushed and, without hesitation, threw herself into his arms. The man, looking flustered, asked, "You believe me just like that? Don't you even doubt it?" Li Yuan, her eyes sparkling, gazed up at him and said, "Of course I believe you. How could someone as handsome as you lie to me?" But inside she was breaking out in cold sweat, thinking, "I want to doubt you, but you're holding a gun." In the next second, Li Yuan collapsed into the man's arms from the searing pain of her wounds. Before losing consciousness, she still managed to cheekily say, "Help me out, hubby, I'll be a good girl and listen to you." After all, she was completely alone now with no one to rely on. The man didn't seem hostile. Depending on him for now might not be such a bad idea. But her soft-spoken, "I'll be a good girl," unexpectedly triggered something in the man's mind, pulling him into a wave of memories. In his memory, she stood defiantly. "Gu Xingye, who am I to you? Why should I listen to you? Get out of my way or I can't promise what I'll do. From now on, you go your way and I'll go mine. We owe each other nothing." Snapping out of the flashback, Gu Xingye stared blankly at the fragile woman in his arms. Then, without warning, he raised his gun and pointed it at Li Yuan's forehead. "I won't believe you a second time. After all, only the dead know how to obey." But the shot didn't hit her. Instead, the bullet struck a masked assassin who had tried to ambush them. Gu Xingye coolly blew the smoke from his barrel. "Bold move. Trying to sneak up on me." As the assassin fell, Gu Xingye's men arrived on the scene. Without hesitation, he ordered, "Clean this up. Take that guy back, we're going to get some answers." Just then, one of Gu Xingye's men spotted Li Yuan unconscious on the ground. Enraged, he stepped forward and volunteered, "Boss, let me finish off this venomous woman myself." But Gu Xingye immediately stopped him, voice cold, "Don't touch her. I still have use for this woman." The subordinate looked at him in disbelief. "Boss, she injured most of our men." Gu Xingye's lips parted slightly. "I said don't touch her. Don't make me repeat myself." The next morning, Li Yuan jolted awake from a chaotic nightmare. Seeing that she was unharmed, she breathed a sigh of relief. She had made the right bet. The man didn't mean her harm. "Good morning, wifey." A familiar voice rang out. She turned around and the view made her blood rush. What? I really have such a ridiculously handsome husband." Instantly slipping into fangirl mode, she cooed, "Good morning, hubby, wearing so little. Aren't you cold?" The man suddenly leaned in, his cool breath brushing against her skin. "Wife, have you remembered anything today?" Li Yuan lowered her head awkwardly and replied softly, "And not just you, I can't even remember my own name. I'm sorry." The next second, the man gently caressed Li Yuan's cheek, his touch tender enough to steal a breath. "Your name is Li Yuan. You're my wife and I'm your husband, Gu Xingye." A teasing smile tugged at his lips. "You're not going to dislike this bargain bin husband of yours, are you?" Li Yuan blushed hard, lowering her head, too shy to meet his gaze. But just then, the pain from her torn wound flared up again. Gu Xingye noticed her discomfort and asked softly, "Still hurting? The doctor hasn't arrived yet. How about I treat it for you first?" As he spoke, his hands settled gently on her shoulders. Li Yuan tensed up, her whole body stiff. "Are you sure we shouldn't wait for the doctor?" she asked shyly. Gu Xingye chuckled, his voice full of familiar affection. Don't be nervous. We're already husband and wife. That tattoo on your back. I inked it myself. I know every inch of your body. This isn't our first time. It won't hurt. He slowly loosened her clothing, his fingers brushing more and more of her bare skin, each touch deliberate yet gentle. Even if it wasn't their first time, Li Yuan found herself too flustered to speak. Was it because of her amnesia? She mumbled under her breath, almost without realizing, "You liar." Hearing that, the man gently bit her earlobe, whispering as he traced it with his lips. What's wrong? Why are you calling me a liar? Did you remember something? Though his voice was soft, there was a hint of probing beneath the tenderness. So this whole treatment was just an excuse to test her. Amid the hazy intimacy, a trace of clarity returned to Li Yuan's eyes. Thinking fast, she switched tone in an instant, feigning innocence. Nope, I didn't remember anything. But that doesn't stop your 8-pack from giving me some medical care. So, are you done or not? You promised to treat my wound, not flirt with me all day. Li Yuan could clearly sense it now. This whole treatment pretense was a ruse. He was testing her. And for now, she had no choice but to play along. Even with no memories, her muscle memory whispered to her. This man might not be dangerous for now, but trust should never come easily. After the wound was tended to, the two of them sat down at the table for breakfast. Gu Xingye continued playing the loving husband, personally feeding Li Yuan bite by bite. On the surface, Li Yuan appeared flustered and shy, but in truth she was being swept away by his tender act. Still, something felt off. Her utensils were plastic. And Gu Xingye's two subordinates were glaring at her like she was the enemy. She decided to test the waters, reaching out casually for Gu Xingye's metal knife. As she expected, the man's expression instantly tensed, and the two subordinates immediately shifted into defensive stances. Li Yuan quickly adjusted her tone and flashed a sweet smile. My knife can't even cut the meat. Can I borrow yours, hubby? Gu Xingye went quiet. The air between them grew stiff. Then he calmly replied, My apologies, dear. That was careless of me. I should have cut your food beforehand. Li Yuan smiled back, playing her role to perfection, but deep down the truth was clear. This man was definitely not her husband. If he were just an enemy, she wouldn't still be alive. The real question now was, what exactly did this man want from her? Just as Li Yuan was deep in thought, a thunderous explosion shattered the window, sending a wave of force crashing toward them. Gu Xingye moved like lightning, shielding Li Yuan behind him with his body. His men were already locked in a fierce firefight with the intruders. Meanwhile, Li Yuan gripped the small knife she had just managed to sneak. If she could just plunge it into Gu Xingye, she might escape in the chaos. But would it really be worth it? She had no safe place to run. No one waiting for her outside. Another blast roared. Without hesitation, Gu Xingye shielded her again, his muscular frame blocking all harm. Li Yuan looked up at him. Blood stained his arm. Alarmed, she asked, You're hurt. But he brushed it off with a roguish smirk. It's nothing. Just a scratch. Why would a man she supposedly had no ties to risk everything to protect her? Could he really be her lover? Just then a loud voice rang out from outside. A pink-haired woman stood on a tree, gun in hand. Li Yuan. I know you're in there. Get your ass out here now. Without waiting, she opened fire on the house in a wild barrage. But something about the attack felt wrong. The bullets were rubber. If they really meant to kill her, why use rubber rounds? Was this another one of Gu Xingye's tests? One of the pink-haired woman's men tugged her arm. Time to fall back. Gu Xingye's guys are coming. She clenched her jaw. Damn it. Fine. Retreat. The group sprinted away, panting and breathless. One of the men asked, Why did we risk so much for this? You idiot, the pink-haired woman snapped. We did it for the boss. He's still trapped in Gu Xingye's place. Chaos was the only shot we had to break him out. It turned out the pink-haired woman was once Li Yuan's most loyal subordinate. Li Yuan had rescued her from abuse, destroyed everyone who had ever humiliated her, and taken her in, teaching her how to become strong and never be at anyone's mercy again. A leader like her would never fall so easily. Gu Xingye must have tricked her. I have to get her out, she vowed. Meanwhile, Li Yuan was tending to Gu Xingye's wound with great care. But as she worked, she noticed an old scar beneath his tattoo, and for a moment she was completely lost in thought. Gu Xingye immediately caught on to her change in expression. What is it? Fascinated by my scar. The casual tone couldn't hide the subtle probing underneath. Snapping out of it, Li Yuan quickly plastered on a coy smile. Nope, just admiring my handsome hubby's perfect body. Seeing he couldn't get anything out of her, Gu Xingye simply suggested they go change. A moment later they entered the walk-in closet. Li Yuan's mind raced. If they really were married, there should be traces of her here. But when she opened the wardrobe, she froze. Hanging inside were school uniforms clearly too young for her, along with overly cutesy short skirts she would never be caught dead wearing. Even more shocking, on the other side was a lineup of seductive lingerie in every imaginable style. What the hell? This guy's tastes are seriously messed up, she thought, flustered. Leaning lazily against the doorframe, Gu Xingye eyed her panic with amusement. So, remember anything, sweetheart? Remember what? Li Wan blinka, confusa. He smirked. That outfit holds our most cherished memory. Our very first time. Turns out, when Gu Xingye mentioned their most precious memory, he wasn't referring to the risque lingerie, but to the white t-shirt Li Yuan had once picked out for him during a childhood shopping trip. It was the very first piece of clothing she had ever given him, and his first ever gift from anyone. Unfortunately, Li Yuan thought he was talking about the barely there lingerie hanging in front of her. When Gu Xingye realized the misunderstanding, he broke into an awkward cold sweat. Quickly, he tried to explain, "This place isn't where we usually stay. It's just a safer villa on the outskirts. I told my guys to stock the wardrobe, that's all." He swiftly changed the subject. "Anyway, let me check your hand." But just as he leaned in to check the wound, he suddenly kissed her. One thing led to another, and before long the two were wrapped up in each other, forgetting everything else. Meanwhile, a poor subordinate had arrived to deliver a message, just wanting to say the doctor was here. Instead, he walked right into the heat of the moment, got a deadly glare from Gu Xingye, and unwillingly became a third wheel in their romance. The scene shifted. In the study, the doctor sat solemnly, reviewing Li Yuan's condition. Luckily, it's not too serious. With luck, she could regain her memory in 6 months. At most, a year or 2. But to Li Yuan that sounded way too long. Could she really survive that long under Gu Xingye's roof? After the doctor left, Gu Xingye's face turned dark, his mood visibly sinking. Li Yuan, sensing something off, kept a careful eye on him while pretending to look away. Then she saw it. Something suspicious was going on between Gu Xingye and the doctor. The doctor handed him a small, unmarked bottle of pills. No label, no instructions. Just black and ominous. Li Yuan quickly pretended to stumble in by chance. "Hey, what were you two talking about?" To her surprise, Gu Xingye didn't even try to hide it. He handed her the bottle directly. "Doctor says it helps with memory recovery. Nourishes the brain. Try one." A pill with no label? Li Yuan struggled to keep her expression neutral. In her eyes, Gu Xingye was no longer a charming protector, but a walking nightmare. Still, she composed herself and asked sweetly, "If it's just a supplement, why no label?" Gu Xingye's face remained unreadable, cold and steady. Then he leaned down, whispering in her ear, "Did you remember something? Because this is poison." Li Yuan froze, panic rushing through her, her mind racing for a way out. But Gu Xingye suddenly chuckled. "Kidding, sweetheart. Did I scare you?" The sudden switch left Li Yuan unsure whether to laugh or run. "Come on, I'm your loving husband. How could I ever hurt you?" he cooed. True. If he really wanted her dead, he could have done it already. No need for games. Unless he wanted something else. Something crueler. Like turning her into a mindless puppet. The thought made her head pound. Ever since she lost her memory, her instincts felt dulled. But one thing she still trusted, Gu Xingye was dangerous. And she'd have to keep pretending until the time was right. The scene shifted. Gu Xingye brought Li Yuan downstairs to rest, the atmosphere seemingly more relaxed. Yet his words remained laced with intent. "Don't forget to take your medicine." Li Yuan stared at the unmarked bottle, suspicion clouding her face. She made no move to take it. Gu Xingye suddenly leaned in, voice teasing, "Still not willing? What, do you want me to feed it to you myself?" Before she could react, he picked up the capsule with his lips and leaned in, closing the distance until their breaths were intertwined. Li Yuan's expression froze. She shouted out, pushing him away, desperate to escape. Her fierce resistance made Gu Xingye freeze in place. A sudden flash of memory struck him. Li Yuan once walking away without hesitation, never looking back. His expression twisted. He grabbed her wrists, pinned them above her head and pressed down on her. He bit down on her lips, forcing the capsule into her mouth. But even after the pill was passed, he didn't stop. His kisses deepened, hungrier, exploring her trembling skin. In the struggle, she accidentally strained her wound, crying out in pain. The moment he heard her whimper, Gu Xingye snapped out of it. He released her immediately, whispering, "Sorry, I hurt you." Li Yuan turned her face away, cheeks flushed, eyes burning with a mix of shame and anger. Gu Xingye lowered his gaze, staring at the damp strands of hair clinging to her forehead. "I'm sorry. I remembered something I didn't want to. I lost control. Just get some rest." After uttering his apology, Gu Xingye quietly turned and left, leaving Li Yuan alone in the room, her expression dazed. She gently pressed her lips together. The heat of his kiss still lingered, vivid and unshakable. Things had already escalated so far. Yet he stopped simply because of her injury. She whispered to herself, "What exactly happened between me and him in the past?" That day, amid an unexpected ambush, Li Yuan accidentally overheard a shocking secret from one of the underlings. She had once betrayed Gu Xingye. No wonder his every glance held a strange mix of restraint and resentment. Gu Xingye wasn't the kind to forgive betrayal. If that was true, wasn't she already doomed? Seizing the moment, Li Yuan blurted out, "Wait, did I cheat on him? I mean, look at him. With such a handsome husband, why would I even consider it? Unless I got bored of fine dining and wanted to try some street food," she thought absurdly. But just then, the next subordinate in the investigation line walked in. Li Yuan knew this wasn't the right time to ask more, so she held back, planning to dig for answers later. Yet the questioning felt like a bad joke. One guy was packing his luggage, the next was apparently mid-diarrhea. They all knew the security cams in the public area had already been destroyed. There was no hard evidence to fall back on. Seeing the investigation go nowhere, Hu Juanza called it a day. "Big sis, make sure to rest well." Li Yuan saw her chance. Just as she was about to press for details about her so-called infidelity, Hu Juanza darted off like a rabbit, fleeing the scene faster than she could open her mouth. That evening, as soon as Gu Xingye walked into the house, he was greeted by a chaotic kitchen full of smoke and aroma. From behind the stove, Li Yuan peeked out, smiling brightly. "You're back." She proudly brought over a plate of sweet and sour ribs and offered, "Try it. I made it myself." Gu Xingye looked around the disaster zone that used to be a kitchen and immediately thought, was this another assassination attempt? And this plate of ribs, was it some strange new method of disposing of a body? But Li Yuan's eyes sparkled with innocent pride, clearly waiting for praise. Wiping sweat from his forehead, Gu Xingye hesitated, then reluctantly picked up a rib. He brought it to his mouth and took a cautious bite. He chewed slowly, then swallowed. Li Yuan eagerly leaned in, eyes wide with anticipation. "So, how is it?" His gaze darkened slightly as if stirred by a hidden memory. He licked his fingers and murmured, "It's delicious." Li Yuan beamed and was about to ask another question, but Gu Xingye suddenly leaned in close, his breath brushing her ear. "It's really good. Make it for me again next time, okay?" Before she could reply, he gently tapped her head. "Get some rest. I've got things to do." Once he left, Li Yuan sat back at the table, lost in thought. She picked up a rib and took a bite, but the sweetness now tasted strangely bitter. "Gu Xingye, what exactly did I do to betray you, that you still choose to protect me like this?" After leaving the room, Gu Xingye quietly entered a hidden chamber. Inside was the assassin who had attempted to kill Li Yuan at the hospital. "Still no progress?" he asked coldly. Hu Juanza replied, "No, boss. He refuses to say who sent him." Gu Xingye stared at the man icily. "You really think staying silent will save you? That your organization will protect you? You have one day to reconsider. Juanza, let's go." Without another word, the two men turned and left the room. But not long after, a pair of silent footsteps crept into the supposedly empty chamber. A shadowy figure muttered, "So this is where they've hidden you. Don't blame me, just doing what my employer paid me for." Blade in hand, the traitor stepped toward the bound assassin. But as he drove the knife forward, his eyes widened in shock. It was a dummy. A decoy. Behind him, Gu Xingye's voice echoed like a phantom. "Too bad. The real assassin was relocated to safety long ago. So that's why you tried to kill Li Yuan on sight. You were the one hiding in plain sight. Tell me who's behind it, or you won't leave this place alive. The traitor, shaking, finally blurted out, It was Liao, the boss of the Qilin syndicate. Outside Hujuanza frowned. We're letting him go? Isn't that too dangerous? Gu Xingye's voice turned cold. I never let betrayal slide. And neither will Liao. He might have taken the money, but whether he'll live long enough to spend it, that's another story. Meanwhile, Li Yuan was still tangled in thoughts about her complicated relationship with Gu Xingye. Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced her head. It felt like her skull was splitting open. Her vision blurred, and an eerie hallucination of Gu Xingye appeared before her, eyes cold and distant. Just as she was about to lose herself in the illusion, a loud commotion downstairs jolted her back to reality. Boss isn't home, miss. Please leave, a subordinate tried to block the way. Out of my way. How dare you stop me? A woman barked back. In the scuffle, the short-haired woman caught sight of Li Yuan upstairs. She froze, then whipped her head around and glared daggers at her. Not wanting to escalate things, Li Yuan put on a polite smile and held up a bag of chips. Hi miss, want some chips? That one word, miss, made the short-haired woman completely explode. You little tramp. Did you just call me miss? You're older than me by exactly 1 year, 4 months, 21 days, 11 hours and 40 minutes. Li Yuan blinked, genuinely confused. Why are you getting so worked up? The woman sneered. Still pretending, huh? Listen up. I'm Ding Liang, Gu Xingye's official girlfriend. So get out of this house, you shameless mistress. Meanwhile, Gu Xingye was in the study discussing business with the head of the Qilin syndicate, who also happened to be Ding Liang's father. Liang's been visiting often lately. I hope she hasn't been too much trouble. Gu Xingye remained composed. It's fine. I've already brought Li Yuan back home. The elder man raised an eyebrow. And your reason for doing that? Gu Xingye's tone was frigid. I have no feelings for her. Keeping her here is strictly for revenge, and to reclaim the 4-symbol seal she took from the syndicate. Meanwhile, upstairs, Li Yuan heard nearly the exact same words, this time from Ding Liang herself. As expected, Gu Xingye had ulterior motives. Keeping her close wasn't about love. It was all part of a bigger plan. Ding Liang continued smugly, unaware that she was being expertly manipulated into spilling more intel. Li Yuan suddenly smirked, voice deliberately provocative. You're the official girlfriend, right? Then, have you ever slept with him? Ding Liang blinked, stunned. What the hell are you saying? That's none of your business. Oh, sounds like you don't know much. Still calling yourself the official girlfriend? I bet you don't even know why I'm the one living here. Pushed to her limit, Ding Liang snapped. Who says I don't know? You and Xingye are mortal enemies. The only reason he's kept you alive is because you've got something he needs. Mortal enemies? Something important? Li Yuan latched onto the key phrases. And Ding Liang kept going. You think pretending to have amnesia wipes the slate clean? You nearly killed him with that slash. You shattered his collarbone. The doctor said 1 inch deeper and he'd have died on the spot. So, that scar on Gu Xingye's chest, it was from her? What had she done? Why couldn't she remember any of it? Was I really that kind of person? Li Yuan's thoughts spiraled, lost between guilt and confusion. But one thought now cut through it all like a blade. I need to get out of here. Fast. This place is far too dangerous. Realizing the truth, Li Yuan rushed back to her room to pack her things and leave this dangerous place. But just as she began, Gu Xingye suddenly burst in. Watching her hurried movements, he asked in a low voice, Where are you going? Your girlfriend told me to get out, she replied coolly. So I'm doing just that. Gu Xingye frowned. Girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend. Ding Liang. She claimed she's your official partner. She's the daughter of the syndicate leader. We know each other, that's all. Even with my memory loss, Li Yuan said while packing, I'm not interested in your messy love life. Since I'm just one of many, you won't miss me. Her words hit him hard. He slumped down in front of her like a scolded puppy. You can't leave. Li Yuan stepped closer, voice steady. You say you're protecting me, but all you've done is lock me away. Why don't we stop pretending and speak the truth? She touched the scar on his chest. Did I give you this wound? Gu Xingye forced a grin. Who told you that? Stop denying it. You hate me, don't you? He turned away, ears flushed red, voice almost a whisper. No. I don't hate you. Still lying. Li Yuan leaned closer, voice sultry. Then why is your body being more honest than your mouth? You treat me like a caged canary, feeding your need for control. You enjoy this, don't you? Gu Xingye lowered his gaze, flustered and ashamed. It's not like that. I just wanted to protect you. Protect me. Li Yuan tilted her head mockingly. Feeding me unlabeled pills, posting armed guards to watch my every move. If you were me, would you believe that's protection? Gu Xingye looked at her helplessly. Then what do you want? Let me go. Her words were sharp, final. She ignored the flicker of pain in his eyes. The tension in the air finally snapped. Li Yuan suddenly lunged and grabbed the gun from his waistband. She pointed it at her own head. Say yes, or I'll end it right now. Gu Xingye panicked, rushing to take the gun back. Don't. Put it down, please. But Li Yuan's gaze was icy, determined. Realizing she wouldn't back down, he gave in. Fine, but only if you promise me one thing. Li Yuan, who had just started to relax, immediately stiffened again. So there was his real demand. But all he said was, promise me that you'll protect yourself. I'll be here waiting for you. The scene shifted. Li Yuan stood at the front door, luggage in hand. She looked back once, eyes calm. Sorry, Gu Xingye, but I won't return to this beautiful cage again. Without looking back, Li Yuan stepped on the gas and drove off toward the freedom she longed for. Yet for some reason her chest felt heavy. She couldn't stop thinking about the look in Gu Xingye's eyes when she left. Gentle, sorrowful, and full of something she couldn't quite name. And just as her mind drifted, a massive truck suddenly veered into her lane at high speed. She turned the wheel sharply, trying to dodge, but the car spun out of control and slammed into the roadside barrier. Smoke hissed from the hood. From the stopped truck, 3 armed men jumped down and began walking toward her. Blood streamed down her face as she lay against the airbag, dazed and barely conscious. The people assigned to monitor the villa had no clue Li Yuan had slipped out, and this ambush? It wasn't Gu Xingye's style, which could only mean one thing: there's a traitor inside. One of the assassins raised his gun, preparing to finish the job. But just as he took aim, bang! His head exploded in a burst of red mist. A figure stepped into view, someone unfamiliar, and yet eerily familiar. He smiled at her through the broken window. Hey Li Yuan. Long time no see. Not long after Li Yuan left, one of Gu Xingye's men spoke up, worried. Boss, letting her go like that? She's got too many enemies. What if something happens to her? Gu Xingye remained composed. I've already released word that the 4-symbol seal is in her hands. If she dies, that seal dies with her. His voice dropped coldly. Even if she's taken, I can get her back, unless it's that lunatic. What he didn't know was, Li Yuan had already fallen into that very lunatic's hands. The white-haired man lived up to his name. Grinning ear to ear, he boasted, "Those guys who attacked you? Don't worry, I took care of them for you." He waved his bloodied gun like he was showing off a new toy, unbothered by the carnage he caused. Li Yuan couldn't help but wonder, how did she even know a psycho like this? But for now, she forced herself to act calm, pretending familiarity. Still, her stiff smile didn't fool him. He stepped closer, voice soft and eerie. Yuan, you seem different. Did the crash mess up your memory?" His smile darkened. "If you've forgotten me, that would really hurt. A Yuan who doesn't remember me has no purpose." Li Yuan forced a light tone, though her lungs burned with tension. "I didn't lose my memory." Her fingers crept toward a shard of glass nearby. Without warning, she plunged it into his shoulder. As he recoiled, she stumbled out of the vehicle and ran. But she didn't get far. A shot rang out and she collapsed. The white-haired man appeared behind her like a phantom. "That's the Yuan I remember. Too bad you still forget the most important rule. Always go for the kill. But hey, we haven't had fun in ages. Why don't we go to my place and catch up?" Li Yuan blinked, realizing the bullet that hit her wasn't lethal. It was rubber. Her earlier attack, however, had been real and vicious. Yet he still chuckled, holding his shoulder. Yuan, I may be cold-blooded, but even you hit harder than I expected." As he spoke, Li Yuan's mind turned. This madman clearly knew her. Maybe he had information she desperately needed. If she couldn't escape now, then maybe she should play along and go with him. So the two of them got into the car and began the drive home. On the way, the white-haired man kept tossing teasing jabs at Li Yuan. Some playful, some downright disturbing. She replied carefully, walking a tightrope between politeness and self-preservation. From what Ding Liang had revealed, Li Yuan had pieced together an image of her former self, ruthless, sharp, and dangerous. As long as this lunatic didn't find out she had amnesia, she might be safe. Just then, two familiar figures flashed by outside the window. Hu Juanza. What's he doing here? And that woman next to him, is that his girlfriend? It was none other than the pink-haired woman, Li Yuan's former subordinate. To gather intel on her missing leader, she had deliberately set up a relationship with Gu Xingye's right-hand man, Hu Juanza. Her strategy paid off. Their bond grew stronger with each encounter. And now they were even chatting mouth-to-mouth, with zero shame. The white-haired man noticed her glance and smirked. See someone you know? Wanna hop out and say hi? Li Yuan quickly declined. He chuckled darkly. Heh, probably for the best. This stretch of road is perfect for body dumping, don't you think? A chill ran down Li Yuan's spine. Was she really safe with the psycho? After all their bickering, the two finally arrived at the white-haired man's home. Once inside, Li Yuan offered to help bandage his wound. While doing so, she noticed his house had a fully equipped medical room and laboratory, definitely not the setup of an ordinary person. Just as she was wondering about his identity, he asked casually, "Wanna take a shower?" That kind of private suggestion delivered so naturally. Could they have really been close? She tested the waters. Is it okay for me to shower here? The white-haired man recoiled in mock horror. Yuan, don't tell me you think I'd spy on you. His exaggerated reaction made her feel awkward, but also strangely relieved. It seemed they were truly just friends before. After some rest, he suddenly said, "Hey, there's something work-related I need to talk to you about." He led her to the lab table. This new formula's tricky. The generic version still needs refining, but for you I'll give it to you cheap. Li Yuan was stunned. So, this lunatic was her partner in pharmaceutical reverse engineering? She took out the bottle Gu Xingye had given her, planning to secretly check what it contained. The white-haired man's eyes lit up. Whoa, nice packaging. Looks like high-profit black market stuff. He eagerly started analyzing it. Moments later, the results came back. Just a formula for nourishing brain cells and aiding memory recovery. As he explained, Li Yuan froze. It really was a memory treatment. Gu Xingye hadn't been trying to hurt her at all. The man scratched his head. This stuff's super niche. No real market value. He glanced at her. Wait, you're not the one taking it, are you? Li Yuan's heart skipped a beat. Crap. Did she just expose herself? He quickly backtracked. What? No, of course not. I was just asking for a friend, that's all. The white-haired man strolled up to a piece of calligraphy hanging on the wall, his voice light but probing. Yuan, do you remember this? You gave it to me. It even has both of our names on it. Li Yuan studied the piece. It did look vaguely familiar and her name was clearly there. She nodded. Yeah, I wrote that. But to her surprise, he suddenly chuckled. The next second, a blade was pressed against her throat. His tone still teasing but now laced with danger. Then tell me, Yuan, what's my name? You've got 3 seconds to back off, she growled, gripping his wrist ready to strike. He threw up his hands, laughing. Hey now, don't get worked up. I just wanted to hear you say my name, that's all. Her skin crawled with goosebumps. She trusted her instincts. Amnesia or not, she probably wouldn't have called him by name anyway. Without another word, she turned on her heel. I'm going to bed. He whined behind her. Don't go, just a little longer? When no sound followed, she glanced back. The white-haired man stood quietly, staring at the calligraphy, his expression far more solemn than usual. Xinzhong. She read the signature aloud. Could that be his name? The familiar strokes stirred something inside her. Memories faint but rising. With a soft smile, she turned back and said, Good night, Qianli. Xinzhong. A wordplay she used to love. Split apart, the characters formed Qian and Li. His eyes lit up like fireworks. Haha, he remembered. I knew you'd remember eventually. Back in her room, Li Yuan couldn't sleep. She found herself oddly missing the soft bed at Gu Xingye's house. And even his annoyingly tender bedtime service that she used to hate. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed from downstairs, snapping her out of thought. She grabbed a coat and crept down to the basement. To her shock, she found Xing Qianli hunched over a mummified corpse, carefully examining it. The grotesque image struck her like lightning. Painful, buried memories surged back with brutal clarity. She remembered. When she was little, her mother used to wait at the door for a father who never came home. One day, her mother fell seriously ill. They had no money. Li Yuan went out alone to find medicine. After a long, grueling journey, she got the medicine. But by the time she returned, her mother was sleeping too deeply. Her mother's jaws were clenched tight. She struggled for ages to force the liquid down. As her mother's body grew cold, Li Yuan believed it meant the fever had broken. She stayed by her side for days. Until one day, a group of strangers broke in and said they had to separate her from her mother. Maybe it was the smell. Her mother hadn't bathed in too long. The scent must have drawn them. They tried to take her away. She fought, screamed, bit, but in the end, she was dragged away to a place they called an orphanage. Later, a man appeared and claimed to be a kind stranger. He smiled and said, "Child, your mother's been laid to rest. From now on, you'll live with me." He gestured to the boy at his feet. "This is my nephew. You'll be family now." The little boy standing beside him looked painfully familiar. And in that moment, Li Yuan realized, it was Gu Xingye. Gu Xingye. Li Yuan gasped as she jolted awake from the dream, drenched in sweat. "Calling another man's name in my bed. So cruel, Yuan Yuan." She turned sharply. Xing Qianli sat beside her, smirking. "What are you doing here?" "You fainted by the basement door last night," he replied with a grin. "I carried you back. Do you like my collection?" Li Yuan ignored the sarcasm. "Do you know if there's any island nearby? One that's full of pink cherry blossoms?" In her dream just now, she had been a child, sitting under a sea of cherry petals with Gu Xingye. Together, they buried a large time capsule beneath the tree. "You can't open it yet," he told her with a grin. "We'll open it together, 10 years from now." She reached out her tiny pinky for a promise. But Gu Xingye had asked first, 10 years later, "Will you still sit here with me like this?" And she'd smiled brightly. "Of course, we'll be just like now." But the dream twisted, her face suddenly turned cruel. She raised a blade and slashed it at the man who dared block her path. Xing Qianli, unaware of her internal storm, simply shrugged. "No clue about the island, but I can help you ask around." Li Yuan stood up, her voice calm but resolute. "No need. I'll find it on my own." Not long after, Li Yuan arrived at the harbor. She approached a boatman and asked directly, "Do you know if there's an island nearby, one covered in cherry blossoms?" The boatman thought for a moment. "Sounds like Hongba Island. The cherry trees there are famous." Her heart stirred. Under one of those trees, she and Gu Xingye had buried their time capsule. Maybe, just maybe, her memories were waiting there. As she boarded the boat, a mysterious figure in a hat quietly stepped aboard behind her. Almost instantly, Li Yuan sensed something was off. That figure, something about him felt hauntingly familiar. Her unease peaked when the captain suddenly turned around, his expression cold and calculating. Then a group of burly men stormed in. "Come with us, pretty lady. Someone's been dying to meet you." Realizing it was a setup, Li Yuan slowly removed her sunglasses, gaze turning icy. She drew her hidden weapon, smirking. "Come with you. I think I'll be sending you off instead." A few sharp shots rang out. Bodies dropped. But just as she exhaled, a cold barrel pressed against the back of her head. The captain chuckled. "No bullets left, huh?" Yet before he could savor his triumph, his head was met with a gun barrel too. The three of them froze, caught in a perfect standoff. The mysterious man finally spoke. "Drop your weapon. Tell your men to stand down." The captain sneered. "You think you two can take on 10 of us?" But then the man removed his hat. And Li Yuan's eyes widened. The one who had followed her all this time was Gu Xingye. Gu Xingye's voice was ice cold. "I brought enough bullets today to take you all out. If you want to live, leave. Now." Li Yuan couldn't believe it herself. Though they'd only been apart for a day, she actually missed the sight of his face. The attackers still looked reluctant. But under Gu Xingye's threat, they begrudgingly retreated on a small boat. "You're letting them go? That's not your style," Li Yuan said, frowning. He gave her a sideways glance. "So what? I should have killed them all. Including you." Then he added dryly, "You're quite the hot commodity now. Whole world's after you. I bet they never dreamed the prize would walk right up to them." His tone made her roll her eyes. "I was just trying to reach an island," she muttered. "Heard this was the only port that could get me there. I didn't think I'd really board a pirate ship. It's a beautiful place. Full of pink blossoms. And..." Her words trailed off. She turned, staring intently at Gu Xingye. He avoided her gaze, but his silence said everything. She remembered. You don't hate me? She asked quietly. I slashed you. Took something from you. You could have forced me into submission, but instead you tried to win me over. Why, that's not efficient. Gu Xingye didn't reply. He gazed into the sunset, the golden light casting shadows across his face, revealing a flicker of sorrow. In your world, he finally said, is profit the only thing that matters? Yes, Li Yuan answered without hesitation. Then what would you do, if someone betrayed and hurt you? Her voice was firm. I'd get revenge. No matter how far they run, I'd find them and make them pay. And if you were the one who betrayed someone? He asked softly. Would you want the same done to you? Actions have consequences, she said. If I chose to do wrong, then I accept the punishment. Gu Xingye's eyes flickered, complex, unreadable. He opened his mouth slightly but said nothing. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion rocked the sea. It was the men they had driven away. Unwilling to give up, they had rigged explosives and blown up the boat. The blast sent Li Yuan flying into the cold, dark ocean. Her body sank quickly, water surging into her lungs, and the world around her faded into black. Just as her consciousness slipped away, a figure swam toward her through the chaos. Warm lips met hers, fresh air passed into her lungs, reviving her inch by inch. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself washed ashore on an unfamiliar island. Injured and dazed, she scanned her surroundings. No sign of Gu Xingye. Nothing looked familiar. This wasn't the boat. This wasn't the harbor. Her memory flickered. That moment in the water hadn't been a dream. It was Gu Xingye. He gave her his breath. Risked everything to save her from drowning. He had shown her nothing but care, patience, and protection. And she had only doubted him. Damn it. I can't remember anything. I've been such a fool, she muttered, biting back tears. For the first time, stranded and alone, Li Yuan felt helpless. But within seconds, she forced herself to snap out of it. This isn't the time to fall apart. First, survive. She got to her feet, wincing with every step. I need water, food, shelter. As she pushed through the forest, something caught her eye up ahead. A small, vine-covered wooden cabin stood quietly in the heart of the jungle. Her breath hitched. It looked exactly like the one from her dream. Could this really be Hongbo Island? Meanwhile, the thugs who had bombed the boat returned triumphantly to shore. Their leader swaggered about, laughing loudly. Finally, that crazy bitch Li Yuan went down. I nailed her. He pulled out his phone, excited to report the victory to his boss. But no matter how many times he dialed, the call wouldn't go through. No signal, no tone, nothing. Then a strange feeling crept over him. His limbs were stiff. He couldn't move. Panic gripped him as he turned. His men, all unconscious on the ground, and sitting silently at the bow of the boat, was a man who looked like a ghost. The figure spoke calmly, almost amused. Relax. Just a little drug. You'll wake up, eventually. Xing Qianli rose, each step toward the thug filled with bone-chilling menace. Now, tell me, where's Li Yuan? The man's face turned pale as paper. You. Xing Qianli sneered. You think you could kill her? He leaned in close, voice low and dangerous. You owe me one more favor now, for my Yuan. Elsewhere, Li Yuan stepped into the small wooden cabin. Though no one was inside, an eerie sense of familiarity washed over her. Every corner, every item in the room felt like it bore her presence, like echoes of a forgotten life. Her eyes landed on an old television in the corner. She picked up a dusty VHS tape beside it and slid it in. The screen flickered to life, and there was young Gu Xingye, wearing a pink dress. He looked adorable, childishly laughing as they played together. Their adoptive uncle stood nearby, smiling warmly as he watched them. The scene was so peaceful, so pure, that tears streamed down Li Yuan's face before she even realized. At the end of the video, little Gu Xingye mentioned the time capsule they buried under the tree in the backyard. That snapped her back to reality. She rushed outside. Dropping to her knees, she began to dig, fingers clawing through the earth despite scrapes and blood. At last, 2 sealed capsules emerged from the dirt. Her heart pounding, she opened the first one. Inside was a faded photograph. A family of 3 smiling together. Her, Gu Xingye, and the man who had raised them. There was also a handwritten letter by Gu Xingye, clumsy and childish. He promised to grow tall and marry her one day. The words were messy but painfully sincere. Li Yuan burst into tears. Gu Xingye, Are you really gone? Steeling herself, she opened the second capsule. What she saw inside made her gasp in shock. The four-symbol seal, the very artifact the underground world had gone mad over, was inside this capsule from their childhood. Who put it here? And why? Just then, a familiar voice rang out behind her. Yuan Yuan, I knew it, you're still alive. Xing Qianli emerged from the shadows, smirking. You had me worried. I almost thought you and Gu Xingye got eaten alive by fish. Li Yuan froze. Xing Qianli. How did he get here? His eyes quickly locked on the time capsule in her arms, and his lips curled into a sneer. Don't tell me you're really getting sentimental over that thing. The Li Yuan I know isn't this soft. You've been acting different lately. Her heart pounded. He can't find out about the four-symbol seal. Casually, she began fixing her hair, slipping the seal into the bun with practiced ease. Her voice stayed cool. What are you doing here? Were you following me? Xing Qianli chuckled. Follow you? I was worried. Your corpse was supposed to be mummified and displayed. Would have been a shame if the fish had ruined the look. Then his tone shifted darker. Just like Gu Xingye, he got torn up real bad. Might as well bury him in that hole you just dug. The moment Gu Xingye's name left his mouth, Li Yuan's expression changed drastically. What? You saw him? Where is he? Is he okay? Xing Qianli's twisted smile never faltered. Watching her panic seemed to thrill him. He's dead, he said breezily. He pointed lazily to the side. There. His body's over there. Li Yuan turned and her blood ran cold. There he was, Gu Xingye. Bloodied, broken, barely breathing, lying in the grass like a shattered ghost. Cut to Gu Xingye now inside the cabin's bedroom. The coldness had vanished from Li Yuan's eyes, replaced by tender concern. Groaning softly, Gu Xingye slowly opened his eyes. To his surprise, the first thing he saw was Li Yuan, seated by his bedside, gazing at him with genuine worry. A bright smile broke across his face. Li Yuan, you saved me? Without waiting for a response, he pulled her into a tight embrace. I knew it. Deep down you still care. You don't want me to die, do you? But their sugary moment was quickly interrupted by an annoyed voice. Hey! Take your filthy hands off my Yuan Yuan. Gu Xingye finally noticed Xing Qianli nearby, and his face darkened instantly. In response, he pulled Li Yuan closer as if to say mine. Li Yuan's face turned crimson. Being this close to Gu Xingye's bare chest was a lot. The tension between the two men spiked. They looked seconds away from a full-blown fight. Li Yuan quickly stepped in. Stop it, both of you. Xing Qianli, he's still injured. Xing Qianli's expression shifted to one of dramatic heartbreak. Yuan Yuan, you scolded me. For him. Am I not as important to you? Li Yuan sighed, about to explain, but he cut her off, grinning like a devil. You heard that, Gu Xingye? She said I'm the most important. Li Yuan could only rub her temples. There was no winning here. Xing Qianli added with a smirk. You do realize I've been by her side this whole past year? I'm her top partner. Gu Xingye scoffed. A partner can be replaced. 1 year. That doesn't even match the start of what she and I have. That lit a fire under Xing Qianli. So what? All that time and she still left you. Gu Xingye glared. She saved me. Xing Qianli raised a brow. Please. That bandage on your leg? My jacket. Gu Xingye looked like he'd just swallowed a roach. Xing Qianli leaned in smugly. What? Grossed out. Go ahead, tear it off if you dare. At that moment, Li Yuan felt strangely conflicted. These two men, both feared and revered in the outside world, were now squabbling like schoolboys over a crush. Gu Xingye, fuming like a child, muttered, Even if you did save me, it's only because Li Yuan told you to. Xing Qianli chuckled. Oh please, you think that's the end of it? Your wound's already infected. No meds here. If your fever spikes tonight, you'll either die or go dumb. And when you do, Yuan Yuan and I will dig your grave right out back. Meanwhile, back at the dock, a group of armed men was mobilizing. Bring more firepower. No one leaves that island alive. On the island, Gu Xingye was getting back on his feet. The three continued their bickering as they prepared to evacuate. But then disaster. Xing Qianli's boat was nothing but a pile of smoking wreckage. Worse still, a dozen armed men were advancing rapidly toward them. With no weapons on their side, a frontal fight was suicide. Gu Xingye acted fast. There's a hidden passage under the house. Follow me. Once inside, Xing Qianli grumbled. It's damp and tiny. Yuan, ditch the cripple, we can shoot our way out. Gu Xingye snapped. You want to die, go ahead. Leave her out of it. Without hesitation he slammed his hand on a switch. Boom. The gate shut. Xing Qianli was sealed outside. Li Yuan turned to him in shock. You've locked him out? Gu Xingye shrugged. Yeah. He was in the way. Besides, I don't think he knows you've lost your memory. Li Yuan's eyes narrowed. Shoo. I haven't told him. That's my weakness. I don't want anyone knowing. Anyone. Gu Xingye's eyes gleamed. He leaned in, gently pressing a kiss to her fingertips, the cellar filled with a slow-burning heat. Then I'll be sure not to tell anyone, he murmured. But just as the tension reached its peak, the assassins finally broke in. But to their surprise, only Gu Xingye was sitting calmly in the center. Their leader sneered. Finally caught you, Gu Xingye. No escape this time. But Gu Xingye smirked, and slammed a hidden switch beside him. Suddenly massive boulders rained down from above. The intruders had no time to react. Their screams were swallowed under tons of crushing stone. Though Gu Xingye and Li Yuan narrowly escaped again, his wound had split open, blood soaked through his shirt. We need to move. Now, he growled, forcing himself to stand. But as they reached the exit, a figure casually leaned against the doorframe. Xing Qianli, perfectly intact, smiled playfully. Yuan looking lively. Guess I can hold off on arranging your funeral. Gu Xingye narrowed his eyes. Pity you survived. The bickering resumed instantly. Li Yuan rolled her eyes. Enough. You can fight later. For now, just get us out of here. But inside, her resolve hardened. Someone had sent killers after them. She would find out who and why. After an exhausting journey, the three finally escaped the island. As soon as they landed, Gu Xingye turned to Li Yuan. Come stay with me. She was about to agree when Xing Qianli blocked her path. Are you serious? What right do you have to invite her? Gu Xingye looked him in the eye. I'm her husband. Then he turned to her, gaze unwavering. Yuan, will you marry me? Li Yuan froze, utterly stunned by the proposal. Don't rush to answer, he added softly. Think it over. Marrying me might just be the smartest move you ever make. After landing, Gu Xingye's subordinates were already waiting to escort him back. Before leaving, he gave Li Yuan one last look. If you decide, come find me anytime. Not to be outdone, Xing Qianli stepped forward. Yuan, come stay with me instead. You'll be safer. But Li Yuan declined politely. I've got something I need to take care of. That night, under cover of darkness, she snuck into Gu Xingye's house. After all, with no allies and danger closing in, keeping the 4-symbol seal near Gu Xingye was the safest choice she had. Just as she finished hiding it, her sharp senses picked up movement. Someone was approaching. Moments later, Gu Xingye and Hu Juanzi entered the house, both instantly sensing something was off. Hu Juanzi raised his gun, ready for a confrontation with an intruder. And out walked Li Yuan, wrapped in nothing but a towel, water still dripping from her hair. Mind if I borrow the shower? The room froze. Hu Juanzi's brain completely short-circuited. Face bright red, he bolted out the door at lightning speed, didn't even remember to lower his gun. Once Hu Juanzi made his dramatic exit, the atmosphere shifted. Gu Xingye stepped closer, voice low and measured. All right. Tell me, what are you really after? Li Yuan curled her arms around his neck, her tone playful and sultry. You really don't know what it means for me to show up here, at night? Her lips brushed his ear. Your request earlier today. I've decided to say yes. But she had a condition of her own. I want a grand wedding. A big event means I'll meet more people. More chances to trigger my memories. Until she figured out why her past self hid the 4-symbol seal, she couldn't let Gu Xingye, or anyone, know where it was. The most dangerous place is also the safest. And so far, Gu Xingye had proven worthy of her trust. Gu Xingye, for his part, could sense she was hiding something. But he didn't press. Instead, he gently pulled her close. That's fine. I'll figure it out eventually. As long as you say yes now, that's enough for me. The next morning, Hu Juanzi nearly had a heart attack. Boss, you're seriously marrying her? That she-devil. Gu Xingye's eyes turned cold. Juanzi, watch your mouth. Boss, even if you can forgive the stabbing, what about your uncle? Don't tell me you forgot how the last chairman died. Gu Xingye leaned back, eyes narrowing. My uncle's death. might not be as simple as it seemed. Either way, he said firmly, I want an engagement ceremony. And I want it arranged, fast. Loyal employee Hu Junza accepted his boss's latest command. Plan a full-scale engagement party. Only problem? He had no idea where to even begin. Desperate, he turned to his girlfriend for help. Little did he know. His sweet girlfriend was actually one of Li Yuan's subordinates, now operating undercover. The moment the call connected, the pink-haired girl's voice turned sugary sweet. Huagich calling me this late? Did you miss your row? I need help planning an engagement banquet for my boss, Hu Junza replied awkwardly. He's getting engaged to that amnesiac girlfriend of his. Your boss. Pinky's voice sharpened at once. You mean Gu Xingye? Huh. What's wrong? Hu Junza asked, confused. She quickly masked her shock. Nothing. I was just surprised. Thought maybe it was for us. Hu Junza flushed. Oh, well, if you wanted to, maybe one day we could. Nope. Focus. She cut him off with faux cheer. I'll handle everything. From dresses to venue, consider it done perfectly. Thanks, you're the best. I was thinking maybe we, click. She'd already hung up. The second the call ended, the sweetness vanished. Her expression turned cold. That bastard, she hissed. He's trying to marry my amnesiac boss? Over my dead body. Gu Xingye, just you wait. A few days later, the big day was approaching. Li Yuan was in the middle of trying on her engagement dress. But something about the stylist assisting her felt wrong. With one swift motion, she yanked off the woman's wig, revealing a familiar head of pink hair. You're not part of this staff. Why are you here? The pink-haired woman smirked. Classic boss. Even with amnesia, still sharp as ever. I'm here to take you away. You can't marry Gu Xingye. There's blood between you two. Outside the dressing room, Gu Xingye frowned. Something felt off. Yuan? Are you done yet? The pink-haired girl leaned in quickly. Our people are waiting. Come on, let's fight our way out. But Li Yuan hesitated. She still didn't remember this woman. Should she trust her, or turn her in? Before she could decide, Gu Xingye picked up on the strange noises coming from inside. He stepped forward and lifted the curtain. Li Yuan darted out in a flash, positioning herself to block the view behind her. With a bashful smile, she said, Nothing, hubby, the dress is just tricky. Can you help me with the back? Gu Xingye leaned in, only to see her bare back almost fully exposed. His expression darkened. Help you? With this dress? It's too revealing. Forget it. Take it off. He moved even closer, voice dripping with teasing heat. Want me to help with that too? Behind the curtain, the pink-haired girl seethed. That perv thinks with his damn lower half. He dares take advantage of my amnesiac boss. That's it. I'm going out there and kicking his. She was just about to storm out, but Li Yuan spotted her shadow just in time. To stop her from blowing her cover, she did the unthinkable. She pulled Gu Xingye down and kissed him. Gu Xingye was completely stunned. Frozen. Speechless. So was the pink-haired girl. Her fury collapsed into disbelief. And then reluctant retreat. Gu Xingye blinked, still dazed. Wait. I think I heard something just now. Li Yuan played it off smoothly. What else? That was the sound of me kissing you, obviously. You even wrinkled my dress. He smirked, leaning close. Then I'll buy it, and you'll wear it for my eyes only. The flirting was in full swing until a subordinate barged in. Boss. Miss Ding is here. She wants to speak with you. Gu Xingye scowled, annoyed. Not now. Tell her I'm busy. But Li Yuan saw an opportunity. If he left, it might give Pinky the chance to escape. She tilted her head casually. Come on, let her in. I'm curious what she wants. Seeing her interest, Gu Xingye finally relented and left the room, unaware that his brief departure was exactly what Li Yuan needed to protect a dangerous secret. Just as Li Yuan approached the room, she heard something through the door, something that stopped her in her tracks. Xingyi, you can't seriously be marrying her. She's your enemy. Have you forgotten? She killed your uncle, the man who raised you like his own son. Li Yuan froze. She killed Gu Xingye's uncle? The very man who had taken her in and treated her kindly? In every fragment of her memory, that man had always been gentle to her, kind, loving like family. So, everything the pink-haired girl said earlier, about the blood feud, was it all true? Her mind began to spiral, memories and doubts surging like a storm. In her mind's eye, she saw herself, running desperately through darkness. Then came a voice, a familiar one, blocking her path. Yuan Yuan, come back. I'll find the truth. I'll keep you safe. But she, cold and unfeeling, snapped, get out of my way. If you leave now, Gu Xingye pleaded, you'll be confirming you killed him. Your innocence day. Face it with me. But her past self was unreachable, blinded by pain, fear, or something worse. And then, in the final flash of memory, she raised a blade and cut him down. In the next moment, Li Yuan jolted awake from her nightmare, drenched in sweat, screaming involuntarily. A strong arm pulled her close. Gu Xingye. It's okay. I'm here. Just a bad dream, he whispered gently. He reached for a nearby bottle of pills. Here, take this. It'll help calm you down. But the sight of the bottle stirred something in her. Memories of how Gu Xingye had once eyed her with suspicion. If she truly had killed his uncle, then his wary, ever-changing behavior made perfect sense. But what about now? Was his tenderness real? Or calculated? When she didn't move, he asked, what are you thinking about? She quickly smiled, deflecting, just wondering if you'll feed it to me like last time. Until she uncovered his true motives, she couldn't afford to let her guard down. Gu Xingye smirked. Still mad I was too rough last time? Or hoping I'll be gentler tonight? Just as things softened between them, he threw out a casual question. Too casual. You heard what Ding Liang said earlier. You don't want to ask me about it. Li Yuan shrugged, keeping her tone light. I know what she's trying to do. I'm not that easily manipulated. Gu Xingye's gaze sharpened. Good. Never trust anyone. And Li Yuan? She never had. She trusted no one. Only herself. In the world of commerce, 4 major guilds reigned supreme. Vermilion Bird, Azure Dragon, Black Tortoise, and Qilin. Yet for generations, it was always the Black Tortoise's president who held ultimate power. That's why people called them the Grand Guild. 2 years ago, Gu Xingye's uncle, the former Grand Speaker, was suddenly murdered, and the legendary 4 emblems vanished along with him. Since then, Vice President Ding Yuan of the Black Tortoise took over, but the truth was buried. During the investigation, a witness came forward, accusing Li Yuan, the newly appointed leader of the Vermilion Bird Guild, of staging a coup and assassinating the former speaker. Haunted by fragmented memories, Li Yuan turned to the one person she could trust, her pink-haired confidant. Tell me everything, what really happened back then? So you're saying, the emblem ended up in my hands and that alone made me a target? Li Yuan's brows furrowed. The pink-haired girl nodded. Exactly. The emblems had to be kept secret. The upper ranks of the guild have had you on their blacklist for some time. You gathered your allies, fought your way back into Vermilion Bird, and reclaimed control. Li Yuan fell silent. Then I must have struck some sort of deal. Or convinced someone powerful that that's the only way the peace held this long. Without missing a beat, she gave an order. Find that witness who accused me. And dig deeper into how the former speaker actually died. But her confidant only gave her a knowing look. You already asked me to investigate all of that. Before you lost your memory. Li Yuan's eyes turned sharp. So it really wasn't me. Which means, who's the real killer? Just as she returned home, Gu Xingye rushed over and pinned her in his arms. You were gone the second I got back. Where did you go? Of course, Li Yuan didn't tell him the truth. She casually brushed him off. I just went to try on a dress. But surprisingly, Gu Xingye's expression darkened. Don't go out alone for the next few days. Li Yuan narrowed her eyes. What? Planning to lock me up again? I just don't want anything going wrong before the engagement, he said, voice low and tense. She caught the shift in his tone immediately. Something's wrong, isn't it? What are you hiding? His eyes dimmed a little. It's nothing. I'm just afraid my fiancée might suddenly change her mind and decide not to marry me. In the next second, he swept her into his arms with that familiar domineering flair. Maybe I should tire you out so much you won't even leave the bed. He leaned in so close she could feel his breath on her lips. But these suggestive words and teasing moves, Li Yuan had seen them all before. They didn't faze her in the slightest. After a beat, she calmly said, all right, the others are gone. Put me down. Then her voice turned cold. Now tell me the truth. What's really going on? Realizing he'd been seen through, Gu Xingye stopped hiding. Yuan, your memory that you've been getting some of it back, haven't you? Do you remember where the emblem is? Days later, Li Yuan stood staring at the emblem in her palm, deep in thought. But just then, a glint of silver flashed through the air. A dagger was flying straight at her. Such a dramatic greeting. Definitely you, Xiao Qianli. The dagger landed and a familiar voice chuckled. Still sharp as ever. Looks like Gu Xingye hasn't dulled your edge. Li Yuan didn't even flinch. Qianli, why are you here? Sheng Qianli stood up slowly, his smirk never fading. To pass a little message, of course. Tomorrow's your engagement banquet. Don't you want to know where your beloved fiancé went tonight? At that moment, Gu Xingye sat across from none other than Uncle Ding, the acting head of the Black Tortoise Guild. His voice was calm, but his words cut deep. A few days ago on the island I was ambushed. That wasn't your doing, was it? Uncle Ding smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling in practiced warmth. Of course not. Why would you think that? Your uncle and I built this empire together. We were brothers. Just like lying your family to me. I'd never hurt my own. But then his tone turned cold. However, Li Yuan is the prime suspect in your uncle's murder. Marrying her is standing against the guild. And even if you are like a son to me, I won't turn a blind eye. A click echoed behind Gu Xingye. One of Ding's men had a gun aimed at his head. Mr. Gu, you know what to do. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Uncle Ding's voice was slow, heavy with warning. So tell me, will you be family, or become an enemy of the entire guild? Gu Xingye let out a faint chuckle, unbothered. Uncle Ding, you worry too much. You think I'd betray the guild for a woman? This engagement with Li Yuan is just a setup, to get her to reveal where the emblem is. Uncle Ding's gaze narrowed, uncertain. If that's the case, then let's make a change. Cancel the engagement with Li Yuan. Marry my daughter lying instead. I trust that before the new engagement you'll get the truth about the emblem. And afterward, you'll handle Li Yuan accordingly. Gu Xingye nodded coolly. If that's your arrangement, I have no objection. But I do have one condition. Put me in charge of the Qilin Guild. Take it out from under Director Liao. He stood up slowly, eyes sharp as blades. After all, compared to that disloyal mutt, I'm the kind of son-in-law you can trust. Don't you agree, father-in-law? You heard that, didn't you, Yuan? Sheng Qianli grinned. Every word of that little chat. I was listening the whole time. Guess where Gu Xingye is right now? He's at your engagement banquet. Same hotel you picked. Same setup you planned. And that dress. The one you tried on. Pretty sure Ding Lying is wearing it right now. Li Yuan didn't say a word. Her expression was blank as she turned and strode toward the door. Qianli rushed after her. Where are you going? To kill those two snakes. Wait for me, let's go together. But the moment they opened the door, a gun was already aimed at them. Orders from the top. No one leaves this room. Miss Li, please go back inside. Just then Hu Juanzi arrived, eyes narrowing as he spotted Sheng Qianli. Who are you? How the hell did you get in here? Sheng Qianli smirked lazily. Wow, Yuan, you've even got a bodyguard now? Li Yuan's gaze turned colder by the second. So it's all true. I've been locked up again. Yu Xingye, you liar. Don't do anything stupid, Hu Juanzi warned, raising a hand. The moment you fire that gun, backup will come running. I'm telling you, don't test me. But Li Yuan let out a cold laugh. Oh, Mr. Hua. Are you sure the people rushing in will be yours? Hu Juanzi frowned and turned his head, only for his eyes to widen in utter disbelief. The one holding a gun to his head was none other than his sweet little fiancée. It. You. Hu Juanzi's jaw nearly hit the floor. He stared at those familiar eyes, unable to process the scene before him, completely blindsided by the betrayal. Before Hu Juanzi could react, Sheng Qianli landed a swift chop to the back of his neck. The man collapsed instantly. Qianli glanced down at him and muttered, "So, what's the next move?" Li Yuan's eyes turned icy cold, her voice unwavering. "I'm going somewhere." The two men spoke at the same time. Her lips curled into a mocking smile. "To the engagement party, of course. Gotta give Gu Xingye my blessings. Come on, we're running out of time. Wouldn't want to miss the grand finale." Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the ceremony continued like a dream. The priest smiled warmly. "Please exchange the rings. Yu Xingye, do you take Miss Ding to be your lawfully wedded wife? For richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, will you remain faithful until the end?" Gu Xingye's throat tightened. The words just wouldn't come out. Then, bang! A gunshot rang out. The priest behind him dropped to the floor, blood blooming on his robe. Gasps filled the hall. The intruder stepped forward. It was none other than Liao, the ruthless boss of the Qilin Guild. "I'd stay still if I were you," Liao growled. "This place is surrounded. Yu Xingye, you want my guild? You better make it out alive first." By the time Li Yuan arrived, the banquet hall was already in shambles. She scanned the chaos and scoffed. Looks like someone else beat me to crashing the party. Without hesitation, the two stormed straight into the venue. Li Yuan's heels struck like thunder, her presence fierce and unstoppable. She marched right up to Gu Xingye and slapped him hard across the face. Ding Liang rushed to shield him, voice trembling with fake sweetness. Li Yuan, what the hell do you think you're doing? Li Yuan glared past her. What? Gu Xingye, hiding behind a woman now. Can't even say a word to me. But Gu Xingye remained expressionless. You saw everything. What's left to explain? Liang jumped in again, fanning the flames. Li Yuan, Gu Xingye is my fiancé now. You have no right to cause a scene. Please leave our engagement party. Li Yuan sneered. Your fiancé, and this whole party, belonged to me just a few hours ago. So let me give you a little advice from a woman he already used and discarded. Never trust a man like him. He'll do anything to get what he wants. Love. He doesn't even know what that means. Liang, furious and humiliated, suddenly raised her hand to slap her. But before the slap could land, Li Yuan caught her wrist with ease. Oh, you want a taste too? At last, Chairman Ding stepped in, face dark. Enough. This is not the place for a catfight. Gu Xingye's voice remained calm and unreadable. Uncle Ding, today's not the day for more blood. Let them go. Li Yuan didn't even flinch. Her voice was laced with venom. I never let liars off easy. But not today. Today is just a warning. Chairman Ding watched the scene unfold, and deep down he understood everything. Right then a subordinate rushed over. Sir, the Qilin Guild members escaped. We couldn't catch them. It's Liao we're talking about. He doesn't go down that easily. Ding sneered inwardly. How foolish. All it took was a few taunts from Gu Xingye to make Liao lose control and storm the wedding. Now the ceremony was ruined and a powerful pawn was wasted. His eyes darkened. Gu Xing, I underestimated you. That you've defied every move I made. That indecisive fool from before now walks like a wolf in a silk suit. Just as those thoughts circled his mind, a familiar voice called out behind him. Li Yuan stepped forward, eyes sharp as glass. Uncle Ding, you've chased me this far, all for the 4 emblems, right? So how about it? Want to work with me? Ding's expression didn't change, but Li Yuan spoke again, voice cool as ice. I'll crush Gu Xingye beneath my heel, and afterward, I'll deliver the emblems to you myself. Ding squinted at her, then suddenly burst into laughter, as if she'd just told the world's funniest joke. Once I might have cared about the emblems, but now, I'm already holding the speaker's seat. Whether I have them or not, hardly matters. What does matter is getting rid of you. Because everything that happened today, every bit of chaos at the wedding, was part of their plan. From the very beginning, Li Yuan wasn't after Gu Xingye. She was targeting the true power behind the 4 guilds, Ding Yuan himself. Just a few days ago, Gu Xingye had confided in Li Yuan. Back then he needed the 4 emblems to prove his authority within the guild. But now, the fact that he kept targeting her only proved one thing: he didn't need them anymore. Not unless she made herself too valuable to discard. So Li Yuan spun a lie, saying the emblems controlled a secret channel linked directly to the political elite. As expected, the ever-suspicious Ding Yuan didn't fully buy it, but he didn't expose her either. Instead, he played along, asking her to do him a little favor. Left with no other option, Li Yuan agreed, keeping up the act just long enough to play her role. But before her pink-haired ally could finish investigating, Gu Xingye burst into the room, loud, accusatory, and completely out of line. To everyone watching, Gu Xingye now looked like a classic two-faced traitor. So once the others had left, they had to keep up the argument, just to maintain appearances. Only when the last shadow vanished did Gu Xingye finally drop the act and pull her into his arms. Ding Yuan is paranoid that if I didn't come storming in, he'd be sure we're plotting. But by confronting you like this, I've sold the image of a messy breakup. Best part, it gave us a chance to see just how many spies he planted inside the guild. Now that he knows I was here, he'll do everything he can to stir the pot. No way he lets us join forces again. Li Yuan raised a brow, eyes glinting. What, you scared now? Gu Xingye blinked, then gave her a lopsided grin. Scared? Hell yeah, I'm terrified. Terrified my wife's gonna leave me. But Li Yuan's gaze still held a trace of doubt. Ding Liang said, I'm the one who killed your uncle. You really don't resent me at all? Gu Xingye looked at her softly. I did. Once, but not anymore. Because now, I know it wasn't you. She was about to press further. Then who was it? But loud knocking thundered at the door. Her expression tightened. No time, you need to go now. If we stall, the act falls apart. Gu Xingye hesitated, clearly unwilling, but nodded. Alright, I'm going. Just be careful with Ding Yuan. Don't trust him. A moment later, their performance resumed. Ally Yuan shoved him out of the room with a furious yell. Get out. Don't ever show your face to me again. Gu Xingye stumbled out dramatically, but when he looked up, he froze. Standing right there was Xing Qianli, smiling like a fox. Oh well, hello again, Yuan. Li Yuan's face changed. What are you doing here? Why not me? Qianli raised a brow. You didn't want to see me? Or is it that he's here with you? His eyes flicked to Gu Xingye. What's the story, huh? Something about his timing sent a chill down her spine. He always showed up at just the right moment. And now that she thought about it, how did he even get that recording between Xingye and Ding Yuan? Oblivious to her inner thoughts, the two men started snapping at each other again. Xing Qianli scoffed. Hey, got a fiancé and still chasing after Yuan. That's low even for you. Gu Xingye shot back. And who the hell are you to say anything? That's enough. Li Yuan's voice cut through the tension like a blade. She stood tall, her expression ice cold. Gu Xingye, we've said everything that needed to be said. Now leave. Gu Xingye gave her a long, lingering look, then turned and walked away, but that final glance was anything but empty. After Gu Xingye left, Li Yuan turned to Xing Qianli. Why are you here? Qianli shrugged casually. The medicine you asked me to prepare is done. I can send it to H now. But her memory was still fragmented. She had no idea who H was. Still, she couldn't let that show, so she kept her tone steady. Got it. I'll handle it when I have time. Qianli tilted his head. Didn't you say there was a deadline? What if it's late and H gets upset? This isn't like you, Li Yuan. That line instantly set off alarms in her head. Her expression tightened. Without skipping a beat, she stepped forward, voice colder than ice. You're rushing me now. Maybe you're the one who delayed things. I've got enough on my plate with Gu Xingye, so unless you want to be next, shut your mouth. And with that, she slammed the door in his face. Xing Qianli blinked, then chuckled to himself. Note to self. Don't mess with heartbroken women. Terrifying. With Qianli gone, Li Yuan wasted no time. She turned to her pink-haired confidant. Do you know who H is? Or where to find him? What she heard next caught her off guard. H was connected to the underground auction ring that Chairman Ding was secretly investigating. Her brows furrowed. Seriously, the guy she's been making medicine for is tangled up with Ding Yuan too? Her confidant handed her the contact details for the so-called business partner. But all she found was a single string of numbers. A phone number. She found a phone booth tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. After making sure no one was watching, she dialed the mysterious number. No one picked up. Just as frustration began to rise, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the booth. That's when it clicked. The call wasn't for conversation, it was a doorbell. And the response came faster than expected. Two bodyguards stepped out and handed her a blindfold. No explanations. Just silence and a ride into the unknown. When the blindfold was finally removed, Li Yuan was left stunned. She found herself inside a lavish, decadent lounge. Silk curtains, sweet wine, and moans lingering in the air. It was an erotic playground straight out of a nightmare. At the center of it all sat a red-haired woman in crimson lace, draped across a throne-like couch. She toyed with a man at her feet like he was nothing more than a pet. Be good, sweetheart, she cooed, patting his cheek. I'll come back and train you after I greet our guest. With that, two guards dragged the man away. But just as he passed Li Yuan, he suddenly looked up, eyes filled with terror. Please, he whispered, trembling. Help me. Please get me out of here. The red-haired woman's smile vanished. Her voice turned razor-sharp. Did you just speak to another woman? Without permission? She clicked her tongue. Stupid little pet. Take him out and feed him to the dogs. The man's legs gave out. He dropped to his knees, sobbing. No, please. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please let me stay. I won't do it again. Li Yuan couldn't stand to watch any longer. Her voice rang out. That's enough. Let him go. The red-haired woman chuckled, completely unfazed. What's the matter? Getting soft on me? She waved a hand dismissively. I was only scaring him. Come on, feed him to the dogs. This is a civilized society. Besides, she smirked. That little thing used to be one of our clients. I'm just teaching him a lesson. Snapped a couple legs, that's all. Li Yuan's eyes widened. A client. That man was once a customer? The redhead's eyes sparkled with wicked amusement. Yes, just like you. The supplier that I paid him up front that he couldn't deliver. And that pisses me off. She leaned in, voice honeyed with threat. But I know you won't disappoint me. Right, Li Yuan? You'd offer yourself up as collateral before you ever failed me, wouldn't you? She snapped her fingers. A servant brought over a wine glass. Here, try it. Tell me if it still tastes like the kind you used to love. Li Yuan took the glass with a calm smile. Thanks. By the way, the medicine you requested, it's ready. Let me know when you want to pick it up. No rush. The redhead lounged back with a lazy smile. Let's have a drink first. We'll talk business later. But as Li Yuan raised the glass to her lips, something was off. A strange, sharp scent hit her nose. The wine had been tampered with. The red-haired woman blew a puff of smoke into her face, eyes gleaming. What's wrong? Don't trust me. Afraid I poisoned it. Everything after that was a blur. The next thing Li Yuan knew, she was in Gu Xingye's arms, dazed and weak. Jiang Huang, what did you do to her? Gu Xingye's voice thundered as he turned on the red-haired woman behind him, his eyes burning with fury. She gave him a slow, amused smile. Relax. Just a little something to spice up the evening. What are you getting so worked up for? He shrugged. No antidote though. You're on your own. Just then Li Yuan stirred in his arms, her voice barely above a whisper. Xingye, I'm so hot. Something feels wrong. Panic hit him instantly. He rushed her to the bathroom and gently lowered her into cold water. Yuan Yuan, hang in there. Does that help at all? But Li Yuan was slipping, her mind cloudy, her body burning. I'm like this already. And you're still pretending to be calm, Gu Xingye? He froze, then understood what she meant. His jaw tightened. No, not like this. You're not in control right now, and I won't take advantage of that. But Li Yuan reached up and gently cupped his face, her eyes blazing with frustration and pain. Her voice was quiet, but every word landed like a blow. Why do you keep running, Xingye? You're the one who said no. The one who kissed me, locked me up, said you'd let me go, then pulled me back in again. Her gaze didn't waver. Why do I have to bear everything while you stay untouchable? Hiding behind fake kindness, behind silence. Always watching, always testing. What are you so afraid of? The truth? Or the idea that I might stop believing in you? She took a breath, then whispered like a challenge. Even now, you still can't face me. So tell me, if you're not a coward, then what are you? The word coward hit him like a slap. Gu Xingye snapped. He grabbed her wrist and pushed her down into the cold water, fury flickering in his eyes like a storm about to break. Enough, he growled through clenched teeth. Is this what you want? To keep testing me until I snap? He loomed over her, hands trembling, not from desire but from rage he could barely contain. You think I'm weak because I haven't fought back? Because I held back for you? One day you'll understand why I became your cage, when it was the only way to stop the world from tearing you apart. The next morning, as the drug's effects finally faded, Li Yuan opened her eyes, only to find Gu Xingye sleeping soundly beside her. His face, so calm and defenseless, made him feel like a stranger all over again. Staring at me like that, planning round two? His voice broke the silence, low and teasing. Turns out he'd been awake for a while. He cracked one eye open and murked. I guess I didn't try hard enough last night. If you're already up this early. Li Yuan's face flushed crimson. Save the energy. The drug's worn off. I don't need a repeat performance. Gu Xingye sighed dramatically. Use me and toss me aside. Brutal. You really are as cold as they say. She ignored the bait, sitting up with a sharp tone. Forget the flirting. Who was that woman? The one who drugged me. That gift she sent. I fully intend to return it. But Gu Xingye pulled her back slightly. You're seriously planning to go after her while your memory's still patchy. That's reckless. He leaned in, eyes glinting. Unless you ask me nicely, then maybe I'll tell you how to take her down. Li Yuan rolled her eyes so hard it could have cracked the ceiling. I'm in my girl boss era, not my desperate one. She tilted her head, smirking. So tell me, what kind of asking do you want? This? Or maybe this? In the end, Gu Xingye caved. He and Li Yuan infiltrated H's underground prison, side by side, ready to pull off a rescue. But Li Yuan hadn't forgotten that man, the one who had looked at her with such desperation, such fear. There was something about him, and something about how Jiang Huang seemed to care a little too much, that was reason enough to save him. Just as they were about to reach their target, the infamous H arrived in person, with none other than Jiang Huang by her side. But Li Yuan didn't flinch. In fact, she smiled. Tell me, H, Have you explained to Chairman Ding how those illegal weapons shipments mysteriously went missing under his nose? Her words sliced through the tension like a blade. Because we both know it wasn't just a customs error. It was your inside man who rerouted the shipment, and you tried to cut Ding Yuan out completely. Realizing she wasn't bluffing, H's smug smile faded. What do you want? Li Yuan's answer was simple. Just one thing. I'm taking him with me. H showed no emotion, but Gu Xingye did. His voice dipped, sour with jealousy. So this isn't about revenge anymore. You actually like that pretty little hostage? And just as expected, Jiang Huang exploded, her face twisted with fury. Li Yuan, you better watch your back. The rescued man turned to Li Yuan, eyes filled with gratitude. My name is Lin Lin. If you'll allow it, I'd like to follow you from now on. Gu Xingye's face immediately darkened. Talk normally. What's with the blushing? He stepped between them and shoved Lin Lin away. Stop acting pitiful. Move. But just as they walked a few steps, a sharp chemical stench filled the air. Before Li Yuan could react, her world went black. When she regained consciousness, she was tied to a chair, face to face with someone she should have expected by now. She sneered, "Of course it's you, Jiang Huang. Couldn't wait, huh?" Jiang Huang grinned, her eyes glinting with mania. Of course I couldn't. My game's finally starting. I've been dying to see you bleed and beg for mercy. With a wild swing, she cracked the whip toward Li Yuan. But Li Yuan, ever trained and sharp, twisted her body and dodged with ease. That should have tied your legs too, Jiang Huang muttered. Then came the second lash, fast and ruthless. But Li Yuan vanished from the strike zone again, this time coldly asking, so this is about me taking Lin Lin. Fine. But what about the drug? What was that for? Or are you just a rabid dog biting anyone you see? Jiang Huang's smile twisted into something bitter. I just hate your face. Especially when you're working with him. Li Yuan's eyes narrowed. Who are you talking about? Xing Qianli, obviously. Jiang Huang snarled, bringing the whip down hard once more. What no one expected was that Li Yuan had already freed her hands during their little chat. In one swift move, she caught Jiang Huang's whip midair and smirked coldly. Sorry, sweetheart, I'm running the game now. In one clean motion, she flipped Jiang Huang down, bound her wrists, and stood tall. She had every intention of using her as a bargaining chip, with H. Just then Gu Xingye arrived at last. His eyes met hers, laced with guilt. I'm sorry that I let my guard down, but I swear, it won't happen again. Their unspoken connection, the closeness between them, it was enough to make Jiang Huang gag from the sidelines. Disgusting, you two deserve each other. Later, with Jiang Huang in custody, Li Yuan handed her off to Ding Yuan as promised. She used the opportunity to subtly probe his thoughts about Gu Xingye. But Ding Yuan, ever the cunning fox, only gave a vague smile, dodging the question completely. Not a single crack in his armor. And so, Li Yuan returned home with nothing in hand, only to walk straight into an unexpected guest. Gu Xingye emerged from the shadows like a ghost, pinning her against the wall before she could even blink. She rolled her eyes. Didn't we agree to keep our distance? You know, so Ding Yuan doesn't get suspicious? That was in public, he said coolly. Nobody said anything about private visits. Now tell me, what exactly are you planning to do with Lin Lin? You came all the way here just for that? Li Yuan arched a brow. Ding Yuan hasn't given me any orders about him. He's still being cautious. I just figured a little fake crush would make our breakup more convincing. It was a perfectly logical move, but Gu Xingye shot it down instantly. He stepped closer, pulling her into his arms. No, not him. If your fake love interest is Lin Lin, then absolutely not. Li Yuan didn't even flinch. Instead, she let out a laugh. Really? You get to switch fiancés and I don't get to switch grooms? Just then a knock came at the door. Miss Li? Lin Lin's voice called gently from outside. I brewed some tea, would you like to join me? Li Yuan raised her voice with a smirk. My new fiancé came to deliver tea. The old one should probably leave now. But Gu Xingye didn't budge. Instead, he flashed a wicked grin. Perfect timing. Maybe your new fiancé shall hear exactly who you really want. He leaned in close, his voice brushing her ear. You want to open that door? You'd better behave. Li Yuan pushed him away, eyes cold. Don't I hate feeling like I'm being controlled. He paused, then spoke softer. Then what do you like? Me keeping my distance, pretending I don't want you at all. Before she could answer, her hand knocked over a cup on the table. Tea crashed to the floor, water spilling across the tiles. The knocking outside grew frantic. Miss Li, what was that noise? Are you okay? Li Yuan hurriedly opened the door, flashing a polite smile. I'm fine. Just knocked over a table, nothing serious. Meanwhile, her leg subtly pressed against Gu Xingye behind the door, pinning him in place like a captured beast. Lin Lin gave a soft smile. I brewed some tea. May I come in and talk for a bit? Li Yuan hesitated, then politely declined. It's getting late. Maybe another time. Instead of pushing, Lin Lin pulled something from his coat. A gold-embossed invitation. President Ding personally asked me to deliver this. He's inviting you to his birthday banquet tomorrow. Behind her, Gu Xingye was being anything but well-behaved. Li Yuan snatched the card and quickly closed the door. Thanks. I'll be there. She spun around and glared. He's gone. Now get off me. Gu Xingye only grinned, his voice low and teasing. You sure? Because your body says otherwise. Get serious, she snapped. Ding Yuan literally said he's coming after you, and now suddenly there's a banquet. Too convenient. Smells like a trap. You still going? Gu Xingye chuckled, loosening his collar. Of course. How else are we supposed to keep our little performance going? On the night of the banquet, Li Yuan arrived with Lin Lin on her arm. The two whispered closely, looking like a new couple in love. But in truth, her voice was cold and calculating. Use your eyes. Watch everything. Everyone. Across the room, Gu Xingye was already seething that if glares could kill, Lin Lin would be 6 feet under. And the air above Gu's head was practically radiating mushroom clouds. He waited for the right moment, then grabbed Li Yuan and dragged her into a side lounge. Are you insane? This is a high-stakes setup and you bring him? Li Yuan remained calm, even smiling. Perfect chance to show off my new love interest. Adds credibility to our whole tragic breakup narrative. Gu Xingye stepped closer, eyes narrowing. Did you really have to whisper in his ear? Smile at him like that? You're trying to drive me crazy, aren't you? For God's sake, she groaned. We're on the edge of life and death, and this is what you're worried about? His tone dropped, softer now, almost pained. Exactly. We might not make it through tonight. And you won't even give me one last taste before I die? Scene shift. Deep beneath the banquet hall in a hidden basement cell, Li Yuan came face to face with a ghost from the past. Liao Ming, the former leader of the Qilin Guild who once betrayed Ding Yuan. Desperate to survive, Liao Ming leaned forward. I'll give you something big. Xing Qianli, he's an undercover agent. But Li Yuan only gave him a cool glance. I figured it out long ago. Panic flickered in Liao Ming's eyes. He raised the stakes. Wait, there's more. Remember the witness who accused you of murdering the guild leader? Ding Yuan asked me to find him. Afterward, he tried to silence him. I hid the guy instead. It's the only reason I'm still alive. You want the truth? Help me and I'll take you to him. That finally made Li Yuan hesitate. This could change everything. But just as she was about to act, bang! A gunshot echoed from above. Her eyes snapped toward the ceiling. No choice. She spun around and raced toward the banquet hall. Lin Lin rushed over, panic in his voice. Something happened to Gu Xingye. He was toasting Ding Yuan at the head table. Next thing you know, Ding Yuan clutches his chest, collapses, and accuses Gu of poisoning him. Now the whole place is hunting him down. Lin Lin lowered his voice, glancing around. But I saw something. That drink. Ding Yuan made it himself in the kitchen. No one else even touched it. Li Yuan narrowed her eyes, a cold smirk tugging at her lips. Same tired trick. Frame him for attempted murder, turn the room against him, and make him a criminal in front of everyone. That way Ding Yuan can eliminate him, clean and legal. Meanwhile, Gu Xingye was backed all the way to the edge of the cliff. Behind him, nothing but the crashing SIN front. Ding Yuan's men, guns raised and ready. Ding Yuan still seemed intent on keeping his promise to Li Yuan. Capture Gu alive. But patience. That was clearly running out. Gu Xingye scoffed, voice dripping with contempt. Poison men don't usually run marathons, Ding Shu. And this little setup. Insulting. You really think everyone's that easy to fool? Ding Yuan raised his gun. I just like to finish things personally. But if killing you brings me peace, so be it. The trigger pulled. Bang. But the bullet never reached Gu Xingye. Hu Juanzi had thrown himself in front of the shot. Blood sprayed. Hu Juanzi's body tumbled off the cliff, vanishing into the waves. Without hesitation, Gu Xingye dove in after him. A second splash. Song Luo, hidden in the crowd, had jumped too, pretending to help, but in truth she was Li Yuan's backup, sent to extract Gu Xingye to safety. The mission had veered off course, but if all went well, they'd both make it out alive. That was all Li Yuan dared to hope for. Your little lover and loyal aide both died right here, Ding Yuan said with a mocking smile. And you? Still calm as ever. That I avenged you, didn't I? Now it's your turn, hand over the 4 emblems. Li Yuan steadied her breath, refusing to break Songluo's with them. Even if they fell, that doesn't mean they're dead. Ding Shu, she said flatly, the 4 emblems aren't something I'd carry around like loose change. Maybe you're the one who's rushing things. Ah, my mistake, Ding Yuan chuckled, the smile never reaching his eyes. Why don't you come back to my estate for a bit? Get changed, relax, and then we can talk, slowly. Li Yuan's expression darkened. Why would I go to your place? I didn't stash the emblems in your living room. The patience drained from Ding Yuan's face. His tone turned cold and sharp. Don't tell me you're having second thoughts, Miss Li. Just then a black SUV pulled up near them. The door swung open, and out stepped Gu Xingye, Hu Junzi, and Song Luo, flanked by Ding Yuan's men. Worse still, every one of Li Yuan's backup operatives had been captured. Every move she'd planned was now in his hands. Surprised, Miss Li? Ding Yuan sneered. Did you really think I'd be the kind of villain who doesn't finish the job? You hate Gu Xingye, don't you? So why send people to save him, unless this whole thing was your little scheme? Li Yuan's expression went cold. Ding Shu, with all due respect, you have zero authority to ask me that. What I choose to do with Gu Xingye is none of your business. Let's get one thing straight. Our deal was simple. You hand over Gu Xingye, I give you the 4 emblems. But now you've taken it upon yourself to injure him. Am I supposed to consider that a breach of contract? That struck a nerve. Was this not part of her plan? Release the others. Give Gu Xingye back. We continue the deal. She leaned in, voice cold as ice. Otherwise I'll consider this whole thing null, and you the one who broke it. Ding Yuan chuckled, trying to mask his unease. Oh, I'm still open to the deal. But now I'm genuinely curious. What exactly do you plan to do with him? Li Yuan's lips curled into a dangerous smirk. Lock him up, obviously. Play with him however I want. You see, Ding Shu, it's a young people thing. Not something someone your age would understand. Just then, a familiar voice sliced through the tension. Bondage games. My favorite. Yuan, come play at my place. I've got 3 underground dungeons, each with a different theme. Take your pick. Li Yuan's jaw tightened. Qinli, what the hell are you doing here? Following you, of course, he replied casually. If you died tonight, I wanted to be the first to collect your body. For science, of course. Her gaze turned sharp as a blade. Save it. The stench of your perversion is making me sick. Qianli clutched his chest in mock pain. Ouch. That hurts, Yuan does. Oh. Have you decided which dungeon you're tossing Gu Xingye into? Then he turned and shot a subtle glance at Ding Yuan. Ding Yuan narrowed his eyes. This wasn't part of the plan. But then again, if Gu Xingye ended up in Qianli's hands, wasn't that basically the same as being under his control? Feigning calm, he waved a hand. Hand him over. It didn't take long for Gu Xingye to regain consciousness, waking up in a dimly lit dungeon. To avoid suspicion, Li Yuan kept her tone cold and commanding, but their bickering quickly started to draw Qianli's attention. Yuan, Qianli groaned from the doorway, arms crossed. I went through all that trouble to get him here, and now you're softening him up. Seriously, you should have made him a eunuch first. Li Yuan rolled her eyes. No need. I have my own plan. But Qianli didn't budge. He leaned against the door with a sly grin. Fine. Let's see what kind of play my Yuan is into. With no other option, Li Yuan amped up the theatrics. She shot him a sultry glance, then let her fingers trail across Gu Xingye's abs. He's mine now. I can play however I want. Gu Xingye unhelpfully let out a breathy moan. Li Yuan nearly lost it. Your wound isn't even there. What the hell are you moaning for? She leaned in and whispered, just go with it. Playing along, Gu Xingye smirked. What do I have to do for you to let me go? Li Yuan pulled out a leather whip and twirled it in her fingers. You're already gasping from a touch. What happens if I use this? You think I went through all this just to let you off easy? You ruined my wedding. Gu Xingye lowered his voice, lips twitching. So what now? Are you going to humiliate me? Or punish me like a bad boy? Qianli finally snapped. Are you two fighting or flirting? Can you make up your minds already? Li Yuan didn't even look up. Torture isn't supposed to be quick. Why rush the fun? Qianli rolled his eyes so hard it could have cracked the ceiling. You know what? I'm done. You two go torture each other in peace. With a bang, he slammed the door shut behind him. The second the door clicked shut, Gu Xingye grabbed her by the nape of her neck and kissed her hard. Care to explain the whip, fiancé? Or should I guess what scene we were rehearsing? Li Yuan glared at him, cheeks flushed, trying to keep her composure. She pulled away and whispered, Ding Yuan still doesn't have the Sifang seal. We're under Qianli's surveillance. And knowing Ding Yuan, I have at most 2 days before he makes a move. The room fell silent for a beat. Then Gu Xingye's voice turned cold. So I nearly die and all you care about is that old snake. Am I really that easy to forget? Li Yuan gritted her teeth. Xingye, now's not the time. Qianli could come back any second. Focus. Gu Xingye chuckled bitterly. Then tell me, when is the right time? When I'm actually dying. Our girl Yuan only wanted to build an empire, but Gu Xingye, he was hell-bent on being her entire world. Deep down, Xingye was drowning in silent misery. The gang, the missions, even random nobodies, they all come before me. What more do I have to do to get her to finally see me? And if waiting didn't work, he'd carve his presence into her life by force. If I can't earn her gaze, I'll take it. Without even tending to his wounds, he lunged forward. Are you insane? You're still injured. Yuan gasped, cheeks flushed, struggling against him. But when she looked down at his face, her heart skipped a beat. That once flawless countenance was now covered in cuts and bruises. So worn, so tired. Just a little closer. Please, kiss me, he whispered, desperation thick in his voice. And before she could react, he crashed into her lips again, like it was the only thing keeping him alive. She never intended to fall, never planned for love. But in that kiss, all Yuan could feel was his overwhelming soul-deep despair. Just as Li Yuan was starting to melt into that desperate kiss, the door slammed open. Qianli barged in, voice laced with disbelief. Yuan? What the hell are you doing? He stood frozen for a second, staring at the intimate scene. So this is your grand revenge. Lock him up just to make out with him. Yuan, don't tell me. You've become the kind of liar I despise most. Li Yuan was caught off guard, clearly flustered and unsure how to respond. Gu Xingye slowly pulled away and sat up, smirking. Qianli, you've been single too long, haven't you? This is normal for couples trying to get back together. Or are you jealous? Qianli's expression darkened instantly. Jealous of you? Don't flatter yourself. His voice dropped, dangerous and cold. You're the second person to say something that stupid to my face. The first, he's now a floating specimen in a jar of formaldehyde. He reached for his gun, but before he could aim, Yuan shot forward and landed a clean kick to his arm. Enough. You think hurting someone already injured makes you look strong? Qianli growled. So that's it, you're defending him now. Don't forget your deal with Ding Yuan. You weren't supposed to forgive him. His eyes burned with fury. Find out if you can't kill him. I'll do it for you. With that, he spun on his heel and charged at Xingye, surgical blade gleaming in his hand. Just as Qianli was about to strike, Gu Xingye's voice cut through the tension. So you think she'd go soft on me too? Fine. Kill me, at least then I'll be the one thing she could never save. Maybe then, I'll become unforgettable to her. That unexpected answer made Qianli freeze. His hand dropped, his voice suddenly low. Yuan, do you actually like him? Gu Xingye turned to her too, his gaze intense. Tell him, Yuan, do you love me? Li Yuan rolled her eyes with a scoff. Are you too seriously trying to force a confession out of me? Since when did you earn the right to care who I like? Qianli's eyes lit up with maniacal joy. That's more like it. That's the Yuan I know, unmoved by men, looking at everyone like they're trash beneath her boots. But Yuan wasn't letting him off the hook either. Her voice turned sharp as a knife. And you, Qianli, did I ask you to meddle? I don't want either of you. Next time you stick your nose in my business, I'll cut off your ear. Got it? Qianli looked stunned, and oddly enchanted. So Yuan looks down on us. Then what does Yuan like? Yuan glared. I don't like guys who show off their bodies every chance they get. And I especially don't like ones who flirt while they're still bleeding. Her words hit Xingye like a bullet. Every trait she hated sounded suspiciously familiar. So that's it. Her type was everything he wasn't. But Li Yuan wasn't finished. She smirked and added, my ideal husband. He'd be prettier than most girls, with long flowing hair, and wouldn't even fight back when I pin him down. Pretty, long hair. Doesn't resist. Gu Xingye froze. Why did that sound way too familiar? Wait, wasn't that exactly how he looked when he disguised himself? Whatever mental image popped into Qianli's head must have been explosive. His face turned bright red. I forgot I have an experiment to run. Bye. He bolted for the exit. Meanwhile, Yuan acted as if nothing had happened. Your wound's bleeding again. You need rest. I'll find a way to get you out of here. Without waiting for a reply, she walked away without a glance back. In the bathroom, Qianli leaned against the sink, breathing heavily, clearly rattled. I don't want Yuan getting close to any guy, he muttered to himself. But if I'm the one she likes, a strange glint appeared in his eyes. Why does that idea thrill me so much? The thought of Yuan smiling at another man sent Qianli spiraling that he stormed into the hospital like a madman, and ruthlessly slaughtered Liao Ming, the very man Yuan had once saved. Not stopping there, he dragged her newly recruited pretty boy Lin Lin into the basement, his expression dark and twisted. You know I'm not exactly known for patience. If you can't answer my questions, then just die. The moment Li Yuan got word, she burst into the underground chamber like a storm. What question could be so damn important that you had to abduct him? Qianli slowly turned to her with a psychotic grin. Yuan, you came to see me? I'm touched. She stared at him in disbelief. Why did you kill Lin Lin? He's your new boyfriend, isn't he? Qianli laughed, unhinged. What more reason do I need to kill him? Then what about Liao Ming? Yuan's tone turned ice cold. That I barely had anything to do with that balding old man. Why kill him? Was it your idea? Or was it Ding Yuan's order? Her voice dropped, low and dangerous. Give me a reason I can accept. Otherwise, anyone who betrays me doesn't deserve to live another second. Qianli just stared at her, unreadable that you're this upset. Does that mean I actually matter to you, Yuan? Yuan scoffed. A dog that bites its own master. You think that counts as something important? So I'm just a dog to you, huh? Qianli murmured, then slowly smiled, one of those eerie, bone-chilling grins. Tell me then, do you prefer a little puppy or a big bad wolf? He stepped closer with every word. Either way, you like me, Yuan. Not that cripple Lin Lin. Not even your precious Gu Xingye. Deep down, I'm the one you can't resist. Yuan's expression darkened. What's wrong with you, Qianli? Are you trying to disgust me? Or do you really think I'm too scared to strike back? But before she could say more, Qianli had already closed the distance. His gaze burned with dangerous intent. That if you won't make the first move, Yuan, then I guess I will. The man who now looks untouchable, Xing Qianli, also had a shameful past as a child. After the Xing family collapsed, little Qianli was sold as merchandise into H. And while H looked like an ordinary club on the surface, it was actually a front for organ trafficking. The boy who was supposed to be carved up and sold fought his way through the organization on his own and carved out a bloody path. And because of that, he changed from a naive, innocent boy into the twisted maniac who kills without blinking an eye. After escaping from H, the first thing Xing Qianli did was capture his uncle from Country M and personally turn him into an obedient specimen. When he first met Li Yuan, he locked her up together with those specimens for 10 whole days. Well, impressive. 10 days in there and you still haven't gone insane. But just as he leaned in again, Li Yuan, who had already broken free from her chains, swung a blade straight at him. Yet back then, the frail Li Yuan was no match for Xing Qianli. With the playful mindset of a cat toying with a mouse, Xing Qianli deliberately left an opening, only for Li Yuan to seize it and pin him down in an instant. Huh? I'll admit, I didn't expect you to still be able to move. But do you really think I'd walk right into you without any plan, like some idiot? I've changed my mind. Work with me. How about it? Not interested. Too bad. Not long after that, the two of them became inseparable partners. You know, that look on your face when you pinned me down back then was really sexy. And now you're doing it again. Are you trying to get closer to me, Yuan? Li Yuan gave a helpless laugh. You've got it all wrong. That I never cared whether you play the loyal dog or not. What I care about is your connection with Ding Yuan. I don't like being lied to. Tell me the truth. This is your last chance to be honest with me. You really want the truth that badly? Then promise me you'll only be mine from now on and I'll tell you everything. His teasing tone made Li Yuan snap. I'm serious, Xing Qianli. Oh, and you think I'm not serious? That buddy of yours, Gu Xingye, already turned against you. Your little boyfriend's a crippled nobody. So logically, shouldn't I be the next most important man in your life? Still hesitating, just say you'll be mine, and I'll tell you every last piece of the truth. At that very moment, Gu Xingye was watching their every move through the surveillance feed. When he saw the scene before him, his jaw clenched so tight it felt like his molars might shatter. Come on, Yuan, just say it. If you promise to be only mine, I'll tell you everything. You'll be my closest, most trusted person. Every secret about me, you can know them all, every last one. Li Yuan's expression turned strange. Your closest person? Yeah, Yuan. Don't tell me you're getting tempted? The next second, her hand on his shoulder tightened. In one swift motion, she flipped him over and pinned him to the ground again. When did I ever need to sell my soul to get what I want? What I want, no one's ever been able to stop me. With that, she pulled out Xing Qianli's phone and held it up to his face. A moment later, facial recognition beeped. Unlocked. Let's see just how much Uncle Ding paid you to make you risk everything for him. Xing Qianli quickly grabbed her hand. Li Yuan, are you sure you want to see it? For you this might be Pandora's box. Once you know there's no turning back. Li Yuan completely ignored him. Whether it's a good thing or not, you don't get to decide that. But when she opened the call logs, what she saw shocked her. Xing Qianli had been in constant contact with the handler. The handler, he's supposed to be dead, 6 months ago. How could he still be talking to Xing Qianli? Even Gu Xingye, watching through the surveillance feed, froze. Wait, was Xing Qianli really working for Uncle Ding all this time? Meanwhile, Li Yuan and Gu Xingye's people were making a trade at the docks. Out of nowhere, Ding Yuan showed up. Turns out he had already intercepted Xing Qianli's message and set up an ambush there. Just as he raised his hand to order the attack, Li Yuan and Gu Xingye arrived with a full squad of armed men. Ding Yuan's face went pale. Impossible, weren't they locked up in Xing Qianli's basement? Instead of worrying about me, Uncle Ding, Li Yuan sneered, maybe you should start worrying about your own life. Seeing the overwhelming numbers on the other side, Ding Yuan instantly panicked and switched to a pitiful tone. Li Yuan, I practically watched you grow up. You've already killed the uncle who raised you, now you're going to kill me too? Before she could answer, Xing Qianli stepped out from behind her. Ding Yuan's eyes lit up. His supposed savior had arrived and he frantically blinked at Xing Qianli, signaling for help. Li Yuan chuckled at the sight. Uncle Ding, with all that winking, are you trying to flirt with me? What nonsense, it was just sand in my eye. Oh, so that's it. I thought you were hinting about the mole you planted. But I should thank Uncle Ding. To lure you into this trap, I had Xing Qianli drip feed you a bunch of rumors for the past 2 weeks. What? How did you find out? Xing Qianli, you dare betray me? Have you already forgotten how I rescued you from H like a stray dog? You'd betray me for a woman? Oh please, don't be so harsh. Didn't I give you everything you wanted? All I asked was that you die. What's wrong with that? Ding Yuan was now boiling with rage, close to losing his mind. Ding Yuan, would be played for a fool by a bunch of kids? If we're all going to die anyway, then we might as well die together. Gu Xingye snapped to attention. Li Yuan, get down now. Xing Qianli immediately stepped in front of Li Yuan to shield her. Just as Ding Yuan's blade was about to come down, Li Yuan reacted in a flash and raised her gun. What's wrong with you guys? Everyone's got a gun, yet you're all scared of a guy waving a knife. Gu Xingye flushed. That's because... Before he could finish, Xing Qianli cut in. Because we were worried about Yuan. If she died by accident, what would I do? But Ding Yuan showed no fear. You really dare kill me? Half of X City's power and the fastest drug routes are in my hands. My men follow me, not money. You wouldn't dare. He didn't get to brag any further. Next second, a bullet dropped him to the ground. So much nonsense. Dying isn't that easy. Sometimes living hurts a lot more than dying. There are plenty of ways to make a man beg for death and never get it. With that, Li Yuan waved her hand behind her. Bring it here. Gu Xingye and Xing Qianli answered obediently at the same time. The next second they were baring their teeth at each other. She clearly called my name. Li Yuan cut off their childish antics just in time. Qianli, come on, pick up the knife. Xing Qianli grinned with a sly, obsequious smile. Yuan, what are you trying to do? Stab him. I want to hear him scream and say he's sorry. Got it. No problem. For Xing Qianli, this kind of thing was second nature. A scream pierced the air. Li Yuan immediately noticed Gu Xingye's sour expression. What's bothering you? She asked. Gu Xingye replied, nothing. But his face had already given him away. I didn't stop you because I don't trust you. I'm just keeping your hands clean. Qianli's used to this kind of work anyway. Really? Gu the pup gets pacified so easily by his girl's words? After striking another bargain with Xing Qianli, Gu Xingye remained on edge the whole time. He understood Li Yuan was only playing the part for the mission. After all, in the basement Xing Qianli had had countless chances to kill them and hadn't. That proved Ding Yuan was their common enemy. But who Xing Qianli's real employer was, he'd kept that sealed. Xing Qianli kept saying, I can't tell you anything until the appointed time. Now it looked like that time was almost here. As the knife struck and tomato red blood sprayed from Ding Yuan, a man in a wheelchair arrived quietly on the scene. Enough, Qianli. Stop that. If you keep torturing him like this, he's going to die. When the newcomer appeared, everyone froze. It was the one everyone thought dead, the former handler whom Li Yuan had supposedly killed. Yet Li Yuan's face didn't flinch at all. So you finally showed up after all this time, she said. The handler smiled faintly. Xingye Li Yuan, long time no see. Gu Xingye scowled. So you weren't dead after all that you've been lying to us this whole time? If Li Yuan hadn't figured it out, were you planning to keep hiding it forever? Letting her carry the stain of being your supposed killer for the rest of her life? At that moment, Li Yuan finally remembered everything. The handler had planned his fake death, all along. A trap meant to draw out Ding Yuan. He used Li Yuan as bait, making Gu Xingye believe she was the one who murdered him. The very person who should have trusted him most became the so-called witness, sealing Li Yuan's guilt in everyone's eyes. But during the manhunt that followed, she accidentally lost her memory. That single twist set everything that followed into motion. So this was the truth. Li Yuan had finally remembered it all. So what if I remember now? Even if my uncle framed me, he's still the one who once saved me. The suffocating anger with nowhere to go turned instead toward the fallen Ding Yuan. My uncle is my benefactor, but you're nothing. If it weren't for guarding against this old bastard, my uncle would never have done that to me. But before she could act, the handler quickly stopped her. Li Yuan, don't be reckless. Ding Yuan's network runs deep. Kill him now and the entire syndicate will spiral out of control. And if it does, then I'll crush the chaos myself. That's where you and I differ. I never leave a snake alive. But in the end, she didn't strike. She simply turned away, leaving without even a glance back. The two men stood still, saying nothing. Li Yuan was never one for empty words. When she moved, she struck fast and hard. With ruthless efficiency, she wiped out every last remnant of the Ding family. The handler had seen everything unfold before his eyes. Xingye, even now, you still don't understand why I chose to fake my death? Gu Xingye clenched his teeth. All I know is that you used me and you hurt Li Yuan. She still hasn't taken me off her blacklist. You're too sentimental, the handler said calmly. Do you know why I chose to fake my death through Li Yuan and not through you? It was both a crisis and a test. She carried the burden of being labeled my assassin. Everyone with ambition or fear would go after her, forcing her to evolve under extreme pressure, until she became strong enough to rule a city's entire underworld. Gu Xingye's eyes widened in shock. You mean? I know the taste of power is intoxicating. But Xing, my time is running out. For the sake of the syndicate's future, give her your seat, will you? Because Li Yuan, she's the successor I truly believe in. Hearing the handler's words, Gu Xingye fell silent. A second later, he looked up, a tear rolling down his cheek. I was already planning to give it back to her. What I wanted was never power. It was her. After the battle, Li Yuan went to a bar to drown her sorrows. Nearby, Hu Junzi and Song Luo were wrapped up in each other, and her mood darkened even more. Seriously, do you two have to flirt right next to me? We were just worried you'd feel lonely, Song Luo teased. So we came to keep you company. Relax, girl. I'm not the selfish type that I knew you were feeling down, so I ordered a male model just for you. She clapped her hands with a grin. Come on in. As she finished speaking, the door to the private room swung open. A familiar figure stepped through the door. Evening, Miss. I'm number 3, the one you ordered. Please take care of me. Li Yuan nearly spat out her drink. It was Gu Xingye. Sensing the chaos, Song Luo immediately dragged Hu Junzi toward the exit. Boss, we'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Have fun. Once they were gone, Gu Xingye loosened up completely. Miss, I'm number 3, Xiao Yi. You can ask me to do anything you want. Li Yuan raised a brow, amused. Anything? Then go ahead. Show me that pole dance you've been practicing. I'd like to see if our big boss actually has the guts to pull that off. To her surprise, Gu Xingye wasn't just bold. He was good, moving with a fluid, practiced grace. Every glance, every motion hit just right, making it hard to believe he was a beginner. When the music ended, he handed her a glass of wine, a teasing smirk curling on his lips. Dare to drink? Why wouldn't I? I've had plenty already. Li Yuan downed it in one smooth gulp. Gu Xingye leaned in, slipping into her arms, trailing kisses down from her collarbone. Just as the heat between them peaked, Li Yuan grabbed his collar and pulled him up short. Gu Xingye, what do you think you're doing? He chuckled, eyes half-lidded. Does my lady enjoy this round of roleplay? What he didn't know was, Li Yuan had overheard everything from his conversation with the handler that day. She still didn't know whether her uncle had truly wanted to train her, or merely to use her. Working with the handler to use me wasn't enough. What else are you trying to take from me? Come on sis, why so serious? Weren't we just here to talk about pleasure? Fine. Don't want to answer. Then this ends here. Once we walk out that door, we're done. No more ties between us. Her words struck Gu Xingye like a blade, snapping his composure. Who said we're done? You really think you can just walk away from me? We're not done. You've never given me what I truly wanted. So don't talk about settling things. What I want is you. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Trying to make me mad. You know I don't care about any of that. I've only ever loved you. From way back it's always been you. Gu Xingye's sudden burst of raw emotion caught Li Yuan completely off guard. Memories flickered through her mind. Back when they were kids he'd already confessed to her so sincerely. But back then she hadn't taken it seriously at all. So what? There are plenty of people who like me. Adults don't have to return every crush. Even Xing Qianli said he likes me. He's richer, better looking and way more confident than you. Her words hit the nerve perfectly and Gu Xingye snapped. Fueled by anger, he yanked out his phone and, almost childishly, posted his resignation announcement. Then without a second thought he grabbed Li Yuan's hand, dragging her toward the door. We're going to the notary, right now that I'm signing everything over to you. Gu Xingye, have you lost your mind? You're going out dressed like that. Have you no shame? My wife's about to leave me. What use is shame? Besides, once we walk out together, tomorrow's headlines will be all about us. Perfect. That way you'll be stuck with me, no escape ever again. Li Yuan yelped as he suddenly scooped her up into his arms. Hey, put me down, I mean it, enough already. Put me down and I'll agree to be with you. That stopped him in his tracks. Wait, really? Together. Yes, that I'm your boyfriend type of together, she finished firmly. Then before he could react, she pulled him in and sealed it with a fierce kiss. Still muttering against her lips, Gu Xingye grinned. Not boyfriend. Husband. 3 days later, the handler succumbed to late-stage cancer and passed away in the hospital. Li Yuan and Gu Xingye showed up to pay their respects, now wearing new faces and new roles. Everyone had come to see this legend off, but of course a few reckless thugs chose today to cause trouble. We're the Axe Gang of a city. Make your boss with the surname Gu show himself, or we'll tear this morning hall down, they barked. Gu Xingye didn't even glance their way. Axe Gang? Never heard of you. Security stepped in and started ejecting the troublemakers. Still, a couple of cannon fodder hotheads kept pushing. So you're the boss? X City's ours now. Pack up and leave if you know what's good for you. Li Yuan stepped forward, slapped away the hand that pointed at Gu Xingye and said, if you know what's good for you, take your boys and get the hell out of here. Everyone was watching, yet only you were sent out to deal with it. Outsiders might think we'd split up or something. Watching his girl defend him like that, Gu Xingye went full love-struck in an instant. We're fine, there's nothing wrong between us. That pushed the troublemakers over the edge. Look at them all lovey-dovey in front of us. What's that about? Boss checked their fingers, ringed. That woman's gotta be his gang's madam. That's it. I thought the new big shot in X City would be something special. Turns out he's just a hopeless romantic. Yeah, what a pair of fools. Smitten by some woman. Not fit to be X City's underworld boss. As they mouthed off, a bullet slammed into a vital spot. Get lost or I'll shoot the empty skulls out of you. The voice was cold and the shot was surgical. Wait, aren't you supposed to be his woman? Someone blurted. Li Yuan let out a contemptuous chuckle. Sorry, I'm a boss too. Toss these annoying clowns out and send them the invoice for the damages. After shooing away the worthless thugs, Li Yuan took Gu Xingye's hand and faced the crowd. Her voice was calm but commanding. From this day on, I am the new handler of the Central Trade Union. And this man beside me, she smiled faintly, is my boyfriend, my future husband, and the only one I love. Gu Xingye stood frozen in disbelief until Li Yuan handed him the mic. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue. Say something. Instead, Gu Xingye finally snapped. Grinning, he swept her up into his arms. Sorry, everyone, that I've got some urgent family business to take care of. He carried her straight back to the private suite, setting her down gently on the couch. Tugging loose his tie, he leaned close and whispered with a wicked smile, Time to exercise my boyfriend privileges. Let's see if we can get a little air for the syndicate soon.